Chapter 911. Who would have thought that the Pill clan's ancestor would have such foresight? Danzi was a descendant of the Pill clan and had the approval of the flaming peach tree. She could fuse with the Saint Realm's peach-pink flame. At her current age, it was definitely a great opportunity for her to be recognized by a saint flame. If such a descendant was nurtured properly, she would definitely become a saint alchemist in the future. She might even become a divine alchemist. The Pill clan's ancestor saw this point and did this without hesitation. He also had a deeper layer of consideration. The peach-pink flame was the Pill clan's saint flame. It couldn't be left outside. If he taught Danzi and instilled in her the idea of being loyal to the clan, when Danzi grew up, she would be able to work for the clan. The peach-pink flame would also be left behind. It was killing two birds with one stone. At this point, Yangwu didn't have the right to speak anymore. He had planned to leave Danzi behind. Now that there was an immortal realm expert teaching her, it was a great thing for her. As her master, he could retreat unscathed. The drunk old man wasn't too interested in the Pill clan's matters. He only cared about Yangwu. He was relieved that Yangwu was fine. After the Pill clan's ancestor confirmed Danzi's identity, his gaze once again fell on Yangwu. He asked, "Do you have a Thunder Divine weapon on you?" Others might not be able to sense the existence of a divine weapon, but how could he not? Yangwu denied no. The Pill clan's ancestor narrowed his eyes. It was as if he wanted to see through Yangwu. The drunk old man stood in front of Yangwu and said to the Pill clan's ancestor, "Old monster, your Pill clan's calamity is all thanks to this little brother's help. You still need to rely on him to deal with the fire poison. You can't have any bad thoughts." The Pill clan's ancestor looked at the drunk old man and smiled. "Do you also think I'll make things difficult for a junior?" "That's hard to say," the drunk old man replied. "Since you've said so, this matter ends here." The Pill clan's ancestor withdrew his thoughts about Yangwu and waved his hand at everyone present. "Hurry up and pacify your clansmen. What are you standing here for?" "Yes, ancestor," said the saints of the Pill clan. They didn't stay any longer and quickly went to deal with the clan's affairs. Yangwu had no reason to stay any longer. He encouraged Danzi, cultivate well and strive to surpass your master in the future. In Shurzuan, don't worry. I'll definitely work hard and won't lose face for you. Danzi firmly nodded. After a pause, she said, "I'll leave my grandfather to Shurzuan. I'll tell him about you. I won't interfere with his decision," Yangwu replied. After saying that, Yangwu didn't linger any longer and left with the drunk old man. Danzi looked at his departing figure, and her beautiful eyes became misty. She thought to herself, "Master, take care. If you're interested in him, then follow the old ancestor and cultivate properly. In the future, she will definitely shine brighter than him." The old ancestor of the Dan clan said to Danzi, "I will do my best. I hope that the old ancestor will not make things difficult for my master." "Didn't I just say it? I won't make things difficult for him. I'll only believe you if you swear." "Child, if I want to deal with him, do you think I'll let him leave this place? Does he really think that the drunk old man can protect him? I'll help you fuse with the peach-pink flame first." Over 1,000 members of the Dan clan died. This was definitely a tragedy for the Dan clan. The sky above the Dan clan was shrouded in sorrow. Fortunately, the Dan clan was a large clan. Even if these people died, their foundation wouldn't be shaken. Yangwu followed the drunk old man to see Lu Ji and Su Yinshui. They were overjoyed. Lu Ji hugged Yangwu and said, "I knew that the heavens would help the Lord." When Yangwu heard this, he couldn't bear to push Lu Ji away. This guy really treated him as his master. "Is this a man? He doesn't look like one." The drunk old man revealed his yellow teeth as he looked at Lu Ji. Yangwu and Lu Ji were both stunned for a moment before they pushed each other away. Yangwu angrily said, "Beautiful military advisor, you've ruined my innocence." "Lord, don't talk nonsense. We have the purest master and servant relationship. Just now, it was just an emotional hug. There was no other meaning." Lu Ji covered his face and said. Yangwu slapped his forehead and said, "You stay away from me in the future." Ai Sha and Shui Xiaofan looked at them and couldn't help but laugh. After Yangwu talked with them for a while, he said to the drunk old man, "Old Zue, let's go." I don't want to stay here any longer. This place left him with bad memories. He didn't want to stay any longer in case there were other problems. Without waiting for the drunk old man to reply, Dan Richin hurriedly appeared and said, "Brother Yong Wu, you can't leave. This is our fault. I apologize to you on behalf of our clan and will give you sufficient compensation. Now, please help our clan." Clan leader Dan, "I'm already like this. Are you still not willing to let me go?" Yang Wu said with a worried face. He had used up too much of his bloodline power. It would be difficult for him to recover to his peak state in a short period of time. He looked very weak and pale. "I know I've let down Brother Yang Wu, but Lord Fire Spirit said that only you can completely remove the fire poison for our clan. You must think of a way. I will definitely give you sufficient compensation." Dan Richin said sincerely, "I've used up too much of my bloodline power. Before I recover, I won't be able to help you." Yang Wu said with a troubled expression, "My clan also has blood-replenishing sacred items and blood-replenishing pills. I can get them for you immediately. What do you think? Since clan leader Dan is so sincere, why don't I write a list? You can prepare some pills for me. I will refine a furnace of pills for myself to replenish my bloodline power. When I recover, I will immediately detoxify your clan. How about it?" Okay. Hurry up and write it. We will get it for you. Our Dan clan doesn't have anything else, but we have a lot of herbs." Yang Wu looked at Dan Richin's rich and overbearing appearance. He didn't hesitate to write down a pile of herbs for him to collect. There was no lack of sacred herbs among them. He really wanted to refine a pill called Heart-Replenishing Blood Pill. This was one of the best sacred pills for the heart and bloodline. It could replenish his lost bloodline power as much as possible. After Dan Richin received the pill recipe, he understood that Yang Wu's pill recipe had some meaning of adding ingredients. However, he didn't have any intention of bargaining. He took the pill recipe and left. He also said that he would be able to gather all the herbs in half a day. Yang Wu was tongue-tied as he thought, "He can't be tricking me, right?" Old Man Zue seemed to have seen through Yang Wu's thoughts. He said from the side, "Your herbs are just a drop in the ocean for the rich and overbearing Dan clan. It isn't much. There are dozens of sacred herbs there." Yang Wu emphasized, Hee, we're all saint alchemists, so what's a few dozen saint herbs to you? If you take out the green jade seal, who knows how many saint realm creatures will come to you with a large pile of saint herbs, begging you to concoct pills." Old Zue laughed. Yang Wu touched his nose and said, "Saint alchemists are so popular." He was well aware of the honorable status of an alchemist, but he had never used this status to exchange for benefits. At most, he would have a fair trade with his family, or he would refine some pills for others to trade. Now, he understood that this was just a small matter. If you go to the Alliance and be crowned as a Saint Elder and announced to the world, you, Yang Wu, will be considered a top figure. No matter where you go, you will be an honored guest. Old Man Zue said, "Then what price do I have to pay?" Yang Wu was not a rash person. For such a good thing, there would definitely be a corresponding price. There was no free lunch in the world. Old Man Zue took a sip of wine and smiled. "It's very simple. Every year, you will accept and complete some alchemy missions from the Alliance. You will get 70%, and the Alliance will get 30%. Isn't that good enough? It's that simple. It's that simple. Okay, I've decided to join the Alchemist Alliance. This is the best choice for you. There are so many people who want to join, but we don't accept them." Dan Richin was very efficient. In less than half a day, he sent over a yin and yang ring with all the herbs that Yang Wu needed. Dan Richin said, "There are 10 extra sacred herbs, 10 Saint Demon cores, and 100 small sacred herbs. It's a bit of compensation for you." One had to say that Dan Richin took out a lot of sincerity. Old Man Zue said in disdain, "A saint alchemist nearly died in your pill race land, and you give me such compensation?" Dan Richin revealed an awkward expression and said, "After Brother Yang Wu helps my clan solve the hidden danger, we will prepare even more generous gifts." "That's more like it." Old Man Zue nodded. "Can I trouble Chief Dan to prepare a quiet place for me to refine pills? I don't need to avoid the pill tribulation." Yang Wu said, "A place that doesn't need to avoid the pill tribulation?" Dan Richin was stunned and then said, "Follow me." Dan Richin brought Yang Wu and Old Man Zue to an empty land far away from the Pill Raceland. This place was riddled with holes, and it was obvious that it was caused by lightning. There are no living beings within 100 miles. We can refine pills in peace. Dan Richin said, "Okay, then I will start." Yang Wu responded with satisfaction. He chose a flat and sturdy place and took out the bronze cauldron to start refining pills. The heart-replenishing blood pill was the most effective blood-replenishing pill in the Saint Realm. It was not easy to refine it. Yang Wu abandoned all distracting thoughts and began to refine pills skillfully. Old Man Zue and Dan Richin did not leave. They wanted to see if Yang Wu was really as good as he was in alchemy. "Old Man Zue, how did you find him?" Dan Richin asked Old Man Zue. "Hee, speaking of which, it's really fate. It's all thanks to your Pill Clan's pill refining competition that he's able to stay in Confusion City. Otherwise, he might not have participated in the pill refining competition," Old Zue said with a smile. "In your opinion, did he really obtain the inheritance of the Heavenly Palace?" "It's absolutely impossible. The inheritance of the Heavenly Palace is not so easy to obtain. Moreover, his alchemy skills are completely different. Maybe it's the inheritance of a divine alchemist from ancient times." Chapter 9:12. Yang Wu focused on alchemy, and his mental strength was much stronger than before. This was the result of facing a life and death situation. When anyone faced a desperate situation and their mental strength reached its limit, their mental strength would either collapse or break through this limit, and their mental strength would rise again. Yang Wu was undoubtedly the latter type of person. The alchemist profession required not only a warrior with fire xianqi, but also enough xianqi foundation. Comprehension and mental strength were indispensable. It was these conditions that limited many people's development on this path. There were many martial artists who cultivated fire profound qi, but not everyone could become alchemists. Without the ability to comprehend alchemy techniques, it would be difficult to reap any benefits in a lifetime. Without sufficient mental strength, it would be absolutely difficult to reach a higher realm in this field. Yang Wu's blood and qi loss shook some of his foundation. He urgently needed to remove this hidden danger, and only pills could do that. When he used Blue Enchantress, his heart was under too much pressure. Refining the heart and blood-replenishing pill was the right medicine. With the experience of refining divine pills, Yang Wu became more and more relaxed. He walked further and further on the path of alchemy, and even felt like he was about to surpass the path of death. Relatively speaking, alchemy was comprehended by him, and the path of death was obtained by external factors. It was normal for the former to improve quickly. After Yang Wu successfully condensed the pill, saint-level heavenly lightning fell from the sky. When Dan Richin saw Yang Wu rushing towards these heavenly lightning, shock appeared on his old face. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Is this brat courting death?" Alchemists were not afraid of refining pills, but they were most afraid of pill tribulations. Their martial strength was limited, and it was extremely difficult for them to withstand the pill tribulations. In order to avoid the pill tribulations, the ancient alchemists had array masters set up lightning arrays or refined puppets to help them withstand the pill tribulations and reduce the damage to themselves. Dan Richin looked at Yang Wu facing the pill tribulations and felt that he was courting death. Old Man Zue sighed. "This brat is crazy. There are only a handful of saint alchemists who dare to use their physical bodies to resist the sacred pill tribulation. Why is this brat so confident?" Dan Richin muttered. After Yang Wu formed the heavenly thunder bone, his immunity to heavenly thunder became stronger and stronger. Ordinary heavenly thunder could not hurt him at all. This kind of saint-level Dan tribulation was terrifying, but he still dared to face it. In addition to the heavenly thunder bone, he also had the divine weapon electric fork. He was not afraid of the power of the holy thunder. He was running the 9 thunder reshaping body technique. His heavenly thunder bone was washed by the power of thunder and lightning again and again. His bones became tougher and tougher, and his saintly body also got a new round of tempering. It was really painful and happy. When Yang Wu could no longer withstand it, the divine weapon electric fork would absorb all the excess lightning power to prevent Yang Wu from dying. Dan Richin and Old Man Zue looked at the scene where the holy lightning had split open their skin and flesh. It was too horrible to look at. If it were them, they wouldn't be able to bear it either. After Yang Wu withstood the saint-level heavenly thunder, the sky finally regained its calm. His immortal physique played a role again and quickly recovered his muscles. The two people who were watching him thought that Yang Wu was recovering after swallowing the healing pill. They were surprised that the effect of the healing pill was too obvious. After Yang Wu recovered, he did not care about the two people who were shocked. He opened the lid of the cauldron and took out a heart-replenishing blood pill. He swallowed it and began to replenish the power of his bloodline. When the heart-replenishing blood pill entered his stomach, a rich medicinal effect spread out. The power of his bloodline boiled, and his blood qi increased bit by bit. The sound of his heart beating was extremely shocking. The power of all his meridians was crazily circulating. His blood vessels were constantly absorbing the medicinal power, and the consumed power was quickly replenished. Yang Wu's blood qi was boiling. Everyone in a radius of 10 miles could feel his astonishing aura. He has such a physique at such a young age. The Yang clan has an amazing monster. Dan Richin said as he looked from afar. Yes, so your Dan clan is not at a disadvantage at all by becoming allies with the Yang clan. This kid is very lucky. He definitely won't die young. Old Man Zue said as he drank. The wine pot in his hand was like a universe space. No matter how much he drank, he could not see the bottom. You are right. To be able to come out alive from that kind of desperate situation, his future is limitless. Dan Richin sighed softly. He paused for a moment and muttered, Later, I will have to increase the bargaining chip. You still have to look further. Otherwise, your Dan clan will always be suppressed by the medicine sect. Old Man Zue said bluntly. I hope that child Danzi will not disappoint the old ancestors' efforts. 3 days later, Yang Wu finally finished absorbing and refining the heart-replenishing blood pill. His state was much better than 3 days ago, but he still felt that something was missing. He had not completely recovered to his peak state. No matter how good the pill is, it is difficult to be perfect. I still need some time to slowly recover my losses. Yang Wu said to himself. The Saint Pill's medicinal properties were very strong. It had almost wiped out his losses. However, Yang Wu was sensitive enough to notice that there were still some shortcomings. His body had been explored to the limit. He could clearly see if there was something wrong. If it was someone else, they might not be able to notice it. The advantage of being aware was that he could slowly make up for it. If he did not notice it and let it go, it would be easy for something to go wrong when he broke through in the future. Even if nothing went wrong, the road to a higher realm would be blocked. Yang Wu shook his head and swept towards Dan Richin and Old Man Zue. The two of them greeted Yang Wu and asked about his well-being. Yang Wu did not want to delay any longer and directly stated that he could solve the problem of the Dan clan's fire poison. However, Yang Wu did not want to expose the matter of the sacred mandala flower. It was currently in a state of deep sleep. After reaching the Saint realm and swallowing a large amount of fire poison, it needed time to digest it. When it woke up again, its strength would definitely increase by another level. Yang Wu wrote a poison pill recipe called the dampness poison pill, which happened to be the nemesis of fire poison. He used a method of fighting poison with poison to completely remove the fire poison from the Dan clan. Dan Richin and Old Man Zue were both Saint alchemists. They were both people who knew what was good for them. After reading the pill recipe written by Yang Wu, they first fell into contemplation. Then they both exclaimed, I've been living like a dog all these years. They had been refining pills for many years. They also knew how to refine the dampness poison pill, but they had never thought of the method of fighting poison with poison. When Yang Wu wrote it down, they suddenly felt enlightened. However, just to be on the safe side, they still tried refining the dampness poison pill first. The method of fighting poison with poison was rarely used. Ordinary people would not dare to use it. If it was not used properly, it could even cause death. Yang Wu was not worried at all. He personally refined a furnace and gave it to Dan Richin to give to his clansmen. After testing it and confirming that the dampness poison pill was effective against fire poison, Dan Richin no longer doubted Yang Wu's method. Then, He gave Yangwu a pile of herbs, including saint medicines. In addition, he gave Lu Ji an array diagram, Su Yin Shui, Ai Sha, and Shui Xiaofan a lot of good things. Yangwu was a good person to the end. He let the sacred mandala flower absorb the remaining fire poison in the Dan clan, completely solving the hidden danger of the Dan clan. After Dan Richen felt Yang Wu's sincerity, he no longer hesitated and decisively made a decision. I will send someone to accompany you back and announce the alliance between the two clans. Yang Wu was overjoyed. He cupped his hands and said to Dan Richen, "Thank you, Patriarch Dan. As the young patriarch, I welcome the Dan clan as an ally on behalf of the Yang clan. I hope that the two clans will be united, protect each other, and prosper." Haha. It turns out that you're the young patriarch of the Yang family. Then the standard of this alliance is enough. I will go and write an imperial edict for the emissary. After your Yang family has confirmed it, the two families will exchange what they lack in advance and retreat together. Dan Richen laughed heartily after knowing Yang Wu's identity. Yang Wu was extraordinary, but if he did not have any authority in the Yang clan, such a hasty alliance would definitely be laughed at. After Yang Wu announced his identity, Dan Richen was relieved. A young patriarch was more or less enough to represent the image of the clan. I will be the witness. I hope that the two clans can become stronger and more prosperous and contribute more to the Apothecary Alliance. Old Zue stroked his beard and smiled. Just like that, the Dan clan and the Yang clan announced their alliance. This news would be announced in the near future, and it caused a lot of discussion in the transcendent world. It also caused the Xing clan to lessen their suppression of the Yang clan. It could be said that Yang Wu had made the greatest contribution to the Yang clan as the young patriarch. No one dared to doubt his ability. Yang Wu brought his people and mount and hurriedly returned to his clan. Along with them was a saint apothecary from the Dan clan. He was the envoy of the Dan clan. He would go to the Yang clan to announce the Dan clan's decision. After the Yang clan confirmed it, both sides would issue an imperial edict to the world. This time, Yang Wu did not have to worry about being intercepted on the way. He could return his clan at full speed without any worries. Yang Wu did not know that the commotion he caused in Bewilderment City had already spread to the ears of some factions. People had started to gather information about him, and the fact that he was on the Xing clan's wanted list was exposed. In the 2 to 3 years since Yang Wu appeared in the transcendent world, he had done many earth-shattering things. First, he obtained the title of the number 1 Heavenly King in the fragmented space. Then, he appeared at Hung Mountain and abducted the young mistress of the Hung Mountain sect. Not long after, he ascended to the 12th level of the God of War Pagoda in the God of War realm, shocking the entire God of War realm. This was not all. He even went to the Sky Domain mountain range and hooked up with the Purple Firmament Palace's saint. He almost angered the Purple Firmament Palace's saint to death. One by one, these incidents were dug up by some people. Yang Wu's name finally entered the eyes of some people. In the future, his every move would be recorded by others. The organization that recorded this information was called the Divine Fortune Teller Building. Chapter 9:13. War God Realm's Yang Family. After the Xing family failed several times to start a holy war and even suffered heavy casualties, they finally had some time to catch their breath. Great-grandmother Gong Xilan didn't die. Instead, she became stronger. She was like a stabilizing needle, continuing to occupy one of the 8 families of the war race realm for the Yang family. Yang Taihe recovered quickly. Not only did he return to his peak state, but he also had hope of taking another step forward. With the mother and son overseeing the Yang family, unless there were several Jade Moon realm heaven reaching old monsters attacking at the same time, it was impossible to destroy the Yang family. Apart from that, the bloodlines of the 2 generations of the Yang family were awakening and strengthening. In another 100 years, they would definitely regain the Yang family's former glory. All of this was due to the good fortune brought to the Yang family by Yang Wu's return. Gong Xilan had already given the Yang family an order. Yang Wu was the young master, so they had to protect him with all their strength. They definitely couldn't allow any accidents to happen to him. Qing Feng was a holy beast nurtured by Gong Xilan. Originally, she was supposed to protect Yang Wu. However, After Yang Wu became a disciple of the Heavenly Palace, he separated from Qing Feng. Yang Wu returned to the Yang family first, and then went to the mortal world. That was why there was no one following him. Gong Xilan didn't expect that Yang Wu would encounter so many dangers in the mortal world. If she knew, she would definitely regret not sending people to follow Yang Wu. When Yang Wu went to the mortal world, Qing Feng brought white-haired demoness, Hong Imo, Hong Ying, and Flying Tiger back. They were all arranged to stay in the Yang family. Since they were Yang Wu's followers, the Yang family arranged for them to live in. After all, these people were all extremely powerful cultivators. To the Yang family, they were fresh troops. After these people returned, Yang Jingtao finally brought Yang Jinan, Su Rome, and the others to the Yang family. It could be said that they had experienced a lot of hardships on this trip to come to the Yang family. It was really not easy. After they arrived at the Yang clan, Yang Jinghai gave them enough attention and personally led people to welcome Yang Jingtao, Yang Jinan, and the others. This gave them a big fright. Yang Jinghai was not only the clan leader, he was also a true saint. Even the people in the clan knew what was going on. In the future, in the Yang clan, no one was allowed to be disrespectful to Yang Jingtao, Yang Jinan, and the others. They were people who were taken care of by the clan leader. At the same time, they all thought of Yang Wu, who had mysteriously become the Yang clan leader. Only he could make the clan leader care so much about him. No one dared to object. Yang Wu had only returned to the Yang family for a short time, but he had done a lot for the Yang family. Furthermore, he had ascended to the 12th level of the god of War Pagoda, shocking the entire god of War world. No one had any objections to him becoming the Yang family head. The Yang family showed an unprecedented unity. They saw a chance to rise again. They were not willing to continue cowering. They had to fight for the Yang family and also for themselves. Hence, everyone in the Yang family cultivated desperately. From time to time, someone would break through to the next level. It was a joyous scene. The aura gathered above the Yang family became more and more vigorous. They finally had the spirit of a first-rate force. Even though they were still far from the peak of the past, they still saw hope. Yang Wu brought Lu Ji, Su Yin Shui, Ai Sha, Shui Xiaofan, and a few spirit demons back to the Yang family. After Yang Wu stepped into the Yang family city, he suddenly felt like he was at home. This was a feeling he had only felt in the Great Xia dynasty's Yang Wang residence. Now, he also had this feeling here. His heart quietly changed. Yang Wu did not have time to sigh. He immediately returned to the Yang family. After Yang Wu returned to the Yang family, he first asked people to settle down Lu Ji, Su Yin Shui, and the others. He then took old Zue and the messenger of the Dan clan, Dan Shijuan, and went straight to the conference hall. He also asked people to inform the clan leader that he had something important to discuss. After Yang Jinghai became the clan leader, besides cultivating, he spent all his time dealing with various trivial matters. It was not easy to be the clan leader, especially when the Yang family was in a situation where there were many things waiting to be done. If he did not manage the Yang family well, he would not be able to unite and strengthen the Yang family. When Yang Wu came to find him, he quickly appeared in the conference hall. When he saw old Zue and Dan Shijuan, he was obviously stunned. These two are. He could feel that old Zue and Dan Shijuan were in the Saint realm. Why did Yang Wu suddenly bring these two people here? After Yang Wu introduced old Zue and Dan Shijuan to Yang Jinghai, Yang Jinghai was greatly shocked. After a while, Yang Jinghai came back to his senses. He cupped his hands and said warmly, "Two Saint pharmacists, please take a seat." Old Zue and Dan Shijuan sat down without hesitation. Yang Wu hurriedly explained the matter briefly to Yang Jinghai. Once again, Yang Jinghai was dumbfounded. The Yang family and the Dan clan had formed an alliance? Was he sure he had not heard wrong? Yang Wu, this is true? Yang Jinghai could not help but doubt. Clan leader, the messenger of the Dan clan is here. How can it be false? And there is also an imperial edict from clan leader Dan. As long as there is no problem with our Yang family, the two families can jointly issue an imperial edict and announce it to the world, Yang Wu replied. Yang Jinghai looked at Dan Shijuan. Dan Shijuan took out the imperial edict and said, "Clan leader Yang, this is an imperial edict personally written by our clan leader. You could take a look." An attendant went down to take the imperial edict and handed it to Yang Jinghai. Yang Jinghai took the imperial edict and gently opened it. Dan Richen's consciousness avatar appeared in the hall. Dan Richen smiled faintly and said, "You must be the current clan leader of the Yang family, Yang Jinghai. This old man is Dan Richen." After Yang Jinghai confirmed that the old man in front of him was indeed the clan leader of the Dan clan, he instantly confirmed the alliance. He replied happily, "It is my Yang family's fortune to have clan leader Dan's Dharma body. I, Yang Jinghai, have no objection to the alliance. I hope the two families can help each other and prosper together." Following that, the matter of the alliance between the two clans became a matter of course. Yang Jinghai first called for a meeting of the elders and explained the situation. After hearing the news, the elders were very excited. The Dan clan and the Yang family were first-rate forces, but the Dan clan was an alchemy aristocratic family. They could not be compared to ordinary first-rate forces. They were much stronger than the current Yang family. Being able to form an alliance was naturally a great thing. If it was tens of thousands of years ago, the Yang family would not be so excited. At that time, many first-rate forces wanted to form an alliance with them, but it depended on whether they were willing to accept. Now, the Yang family had lost their ally, the Li family. If they could obtain the support of the Dan clan, it would be a great help to their momentum. Yang Wu did not need to participate too much in the following matters. He only needed to witness everything. In the end, the Yang family unanimously agreed to form an alliance with the Dan clan. Yang Jinghai wrote an imperial edict and handed it to Dan Shijuan. After Dan Shijuan received the edict back to the Dan clan, the alliance would be complete. The Yang family hosted a grand banquet for Dan Shijuan and Old Zue. They also prepared generous gifts for them. The hospitality was very sincere. After everything was done, Dan Shijuan returned to the Dan clan. Old Zue did not leave. He was still waiting to take Yang Wu to the Alchemist Union for the Holy Elder ceremony. When everyone in the Yang family learned that Yang Wu had become a holy alchemist and joined the Alchemist Union, most of them were shocked. Only a few people were unhappy. This young man who had returned to the Yang family had risen too quickly. They felt that they could not catch up to him. After Yang Wu finished dealing with these trivial matters, he immediately went to pay his respects to Gong Silan. Gong Silan couldn't help but praise him, causing Yang Wu's old face to turn red. When Yang Wu left Gong Silan's place, Qing Feng quietly appeared beside him. She was still as beautiful as before. Her figure was tall and sexy. Her blue hair fluttered in the wind. "Sister Feng." Yang Wu greeted her affectionately. Qing Feng said, "I will not leave your side in the future. There's no need for that." Yang Wu clicked his tongue. "There's a need." Qing Feng emphasized, "I'm not that weak now. As long as they are not saints, they will not be able to hurt me. Even if they are saints, I can make them pay the price. Saints only need an instant to kill you. They won't give you a chance to use any of your trump cards. Moreover, this is a mission given to me by grandmother. I cannot let you make any mistakes." "All right." Qing Feng said that she would not leave Yang Wu's side. However, she did not follow him around in the Yang family. She would only follow him when he left the Yang family. Qing Feng told Yang Wu that white-haired demoness was in seclusion to break through to the Star Rune realm. The Yang family saints were guarding her and had prepared items for her. Hong Yimou, Hong Ying, and Flying Tiger were all staying in the offering courtyard. Yang Wu took some time to meet the three of them. They were all small saints. As long as they were nurtured, they would be of great help. When the three of them saw Yang Wu, they were extremely excited. They were all ruthless people, but they did not feel safe in the Yang family. Even if the Yang family had declined, a saint could come out to suppress them at any time. How would they dare to act rashly here? "Greetings, Lord." The three of them bowed together. "There is no need for formalities. Are you used to living here?" Yang Wu smiled and replied, "It is good. It is just too comfortable." Hong Yimou replied honestly. Hong Ying patted Hong Yimou and glared at him. He then smiled at Yang Wu and said, "Lord, we are very good. The Xianqi in the Yang family is very dense. It is beneficial for our cultivation. There is also less fighting and killing. We don't have to run around all day to make a living. Haha, Hong Mo is speaking the truth. It is a difficult thing to let you all settle down. However, you should focus on cultivating for the time being. Increasing your cultivation is the most important thing. Don't worry about not being able to use your strength in the future. I am only worried that you are too weak and will be killed by others. Yang Wu laughed. He then looked at Flying Tiger and said, Flying Tiger, I plan to increase your cultivation. Flying Tiger was overjoyed. Thank you, Lord. Chapter 9:14. Half a month later, the alliance between the Yang family and the Dan family was finally announced to the public. The War Race world and the Dark Shadow world were the first to cause a great sensation. Soon, the news spread throughout the Transcendent world. The alliance of two first-class forces was absolutely extraordinary, especially for an ancient family like the Yang family. They had been in decline for many years, but they suddenly resisted the Xing family and formed an alliance with the Dan clan. This meant that they could get a lot of pills from the Dan clan, which could help them create a new army. As for the Dan clan, the benefits were much less. The Yang family had the least share of the mineral veins in the world of battles. Other than their own consumption, there were not many external supplies. Everyone was puzzled that the Dan clan would still form an alliance with the Yang family when there were not many benefits. No one knew that it was a young man who had affected the situation between the two families. The Xing family, Lu family, and Li family, who were originally eager to make trouble for the Yang family, now had some misgivings. Before they could react, the Hung Mountain sect suddenly sent a messenger to announce their alliance with the Yang family. If the alliance between the Dan family and the Yang family had only attracted the attention of the major forces, then the Hung Mountain sect's participation had undoubtedly shocked the other forces. They didn't understand why the Yang family would suddenly erupt with such astonishing strength, as if they had taken an aphrodisiac. Could it be that the Yang family had taken out the resources they had accumulated over the years to bribe these two families, so that they were willing to form an alliance? The Hung Mountain sect and the other four sects were called the Five Mountains sect. They were connected with the other four sects, advancing and retreating together. However, each of them was in charge of a region and did not interfere with the internal affairs of the other four sections. Therefore, when they formed an alliance with the Yang family, the other four sects had nothing to say. Although some people had different opinions, there was no way to stop this from happening. The Yang family surprise was not over yet. The Sun family suddenly announced that they were willing to deepen their relationship with the Yang family. This news completely ignited the War Race world. Among the 8 great war clans, the Sun family had always maintained a neutral position. They were a military family that specialized in group battles. In the war clan world, they had always been quiet, but once they did, they would shock everyone. They had played a great role in killing the evil demons. They had never been able to enter the top 3 of the war clans, not because their foundation was not strong enough, but because they had always disdained to compete for such a ranking. Their family had a weapon ancestor, and he was a peak overlord existence in the Transcendence. The Yang family was completely overjoyed. They wondered if their ancestor had gone to check the spirit. Such good things happened one after another, allowing them to see the hope of regaining their glory. Those subordinate forces who were originally unwavering also became completely firm. With the alliance of these 3 forces, the Xing clan would have to consider the consequences if they wanted to deal with the Yang clan. The upper echelons of the Yang family didn't let these happy events go to their heads. They took advantage of this opportunity to purchase a large amount of pills and herbs from the Dan family. On the other hand, they sent people to Mount Hung to exchange what they needed. They also sent people to the Sun family to express their gratitude. They took out a portion of the family's wealth and did their best to completely consolidate the relationship between the 3 parties. As an indispensable youth in these matters, he did not participate too much in these matters. Instead, he entered a frenzied state of alchemy. Other than making arrangements for his family's matters, he had been refining pills day and night. Other than old Zue, Dan Long was the only one who stayed by his side. Dan Long already knew about Dan Zi from Yang Wu. Yang Wu was also willing to let Dan Long return to the Dan family. However, Danlong didn't leave. He said that he was willing to follow Yang Wu. Thus, he wouldn't change his position. Yang Wu also didn't persuade him. He just asked him to write a letter to Dan Z explaining the situation. The Dan family didn't care about Dan Long. They only cared about Dan Z. Yang Wu was refining pills. Old Zue wasn't in a hurry. He had been observing Yang Wu's alchemy techniques. Moreover, he would occasionally participate in the alchemy. The two of them seemed to have a tacit understanding. Occasionally, they would stop and exchange alchemy. Their alchemy skills were constantly improving, especially old Zue. His talent in alchemy wasn't outstanding, but his personality was stubborn. Moreover, his background was strong enough to support him to reach the sage alchemist realm. For many years, the holy pills he refined could only attract the second tribulation heavenly thunder at most. This time, he calmly refined pills with Yang Wu. He actually attracted the third tribulation heavenly thunder twice, causing him to dance and laugh wildly. This guy wasn't as abnormal as Yang Wu, who could withstand the bombardment of heavenly thunder. Even if he was a senior sage, he still couldn't withstand it. He used a puppet to resist the heavenly thunder. This puppet was very terrifying. The more it was struck by the heavenly thunder, the tougher the puppet's body became. Yang Wu asked old Zue what kind of puppet it was. Old Zue replied that it was a thunder-absorbing puppet. This puppet was refined into a thunder-absorbing sacred stone and also had a small holy technique. It had the effect of absorbing thunder. It was the favorite puppet of alchemists. However, it was very expensive and very rare. Dan Long, who was watching from the side, had gained a lot. If it wasn't for the fact that his strength was limited, he felt that he had the confidence to become a sage alchemist. After watching two sage alchemists refine pills for 2 months, if he didn't comprehend anything, then he would be a fool. After Yang Wu had been refining pills for 2 months, he no longer continued. In these 2 months, he had received a large amount of heavenly thunder energy and needed to digest it properly. Otherwise, there would be problems with his body. After the baptism of the holy level heavenly thunder, he had accumulated too much thunder energy in his body. Even the heavenly thunderbone was a little overwhelmed. Fortunately, he had the divine weapon electric fork, otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to be so crazy. In these 2 months, he had refined 10 batches of holy pills and 30 batches of small holy pills. Each of the pills was extremely valuable. There were pills that could improve the Star Rune realm, pills that could help people advance to the Star Rune realm, pills that could help people advance to the Dragon Transformation realm. In addition to preparing these pills for the family, Yang Wu also kept a portion for himself. As the young patriarch, it was time for him to cultivate his own direct descendants. In the Yang family, his most trusted aide was naturally Yang Ba, but that guy wasn't in the family for the time being. He was fighting in the battle world. The other two were Yang Hongchang and Yang Jia. They had been listed by Yang Wu as people worth cultivating. Besides the members of the Yang clan, he still had the white-haired she-devil, Flying Tiger, Hong Mo, Hong Ying, the 5 heroes of the Roaring Sword sect, by Luo Yun, Yang Jinlong, and the silver-striped turtle by his side. All of them required a large amount of medicinal pills to help them improve swiftly. He didn't want to urge them to grow, but it was necessary to prepare pills for them. As for his family, needless to say, Yang Wu refined small holy liquid and holy liquid for his grandfather, parents, and Su Yinshui to help them cultivate the best physique. Only then could they advance steadily and advance to the Star Rune realm in the future. Yang Wu roughly calculated that he had a lot of things to do at the moment. He had to deal with these things before he went to the Alchemist Union to participate in the Holy Elder Conferment. Old Zue didn't urge him. He had plenty of time, so he didn't care about a few months. Yang Wu returned to see Dragon Island. The 4 fragrances of spring, summer, autumn, and winter had already prepared hot water for him to bathe and change clothes. They were all dressed gorgeously and didn't hesitate to stick close to Yang Wu and help him change clothes. Their soft and plump hearts rubbed against Yang Wu from time to time, and they even took advantage of Yang Wu. Yang Wu was burned by them, and he wanted nothing more than to do them on the spot. Fortunately, his willpower wasn't too bad, and he didn't completely succumb. The four fragrances didn't dare to use force on Yangwu. They were Yangwu's maids, and they were already prepared to give themselves to him. If Yangwu wanted them, they would be very happy. But if Yangwu didn't want them, they didn't dare to complain. After Yangwu finished bathing, he brought Yang Zhenlong to see his grandfather and parents. Yang Zhenan and Su Rome had already adapted to the life of the Yang Zhenan. In particular, Yang Zhenan spent all his time on cultivation, and his cultivation improved by leaps and bounds. The battle blood immortal art that Yang Wu passed on to him was too heaven-defying. As for Su Rome, with the company of Wan Lanxin, she slowly walked out of the shadow of sadness and began to cultivate, striving to not be a burden in the future. After Yang Wu returned home, Yang Jingtao, Yang Zhenan, and Su Rome were all gathered together. There was no one else. Grandfather, father, mother. After Yang Wu saw them, he knelt down to greet them. Quickly get up. You're all grown up, so there's no need to be so courteous. Besides, it's not good if others see you. You're now the young clan head. Yang Jingtao said with a smile. No matter what my status is, I'm still grandfather's grandson. Yang Wu stood up and said with a smile. He then looked at his parents and said, Father, mother, are you used to it? Everything is good. I'm just a bit bored. Yang Zhenan replied. Su Rome walked towards her son and held his hand as she said, Don't worry about mother. Mother can take care of herself. You don't have to work so hard. I don't care if you're the young clan head or not, but I don't want you to be too tired. In this world, only a mother was good. This sentence was not false at all. Yang Wu held his mother's hand and said, Mother, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. It's just that I don't have much time to accompany you. It's your son who is unfilial. It doesn't matter if you don't accompany us, but you can't neglect that child Lan Xin. She's infatuated with you. Don't think that just because you have some ability now, you can abandon her. Su Rome reminded. Yang Zhenan interrupted from the side and said, That's right. Lan Xin is a good girl. If you dare to disappoint her, I'll break your legs. Yang Wu scratched the back of his head and said, Father, mother, don't worry. I can't do this kind of thing. I'll go see Sister Lan Xin later. And, at least you still have a bit of conscience. Yang Zhenan said in a deep voice. Yang Jingtao sighed and said, If your brother was here, the family would be reunited. I don't know when that child will be back. When Yang Zhenan and Su Rome heard their father mention Yang Wan, they were very worried and worried. They knew about Yang Wan's situation from Yang Wu, but after not seeing each other for so long, how could they feel good? Yang Wu comforted them with a few words. After giving them some medicine and cultivation resources, he went to see Wan Lanxin. How was the old big sister? Chapter 9:15. Wan Lanxin had been a proud girl since she was young. She trained hard and did things seriously. Perhaps it was because she grew up in the general's residence, but she didn't have the temper of a young lady. She only had the style of a big sister. In this aspect, Ai Sha was a little similar to her. However, Ai Sha was the child king in the slums, while Wan Lanxin was the big sister among the children of the rich. Wan Lanxin was already 26 years old. Her body had completely matured, and she was a very young and beautiful woman. Her face was full of heroic spirit, and her slender legs were very attractive. She wore a set of tight clothes and held a long spear. She was sweating profusely as she cultivated. Every movement she made was perfect and serious. As she moved, her plump buttocks made people drool. After Wan Lanxin came to the transcendent realm, her strength exploded and she rushed to the peak of the Earth-Sea realm. The profound chi of heaven and earth in the transcendent realm was incomparably dense. As long as one's talent wasn't too bad, they could become a good martial cultivator. Her talent wasn't bad to begin with, and after receiving the medicinal liquid from Yang Wu to refine her body, she worked especially hard on her cultivation. In the days when Yang Wu wasn't around, other than the matters of her job, she spent most of her time on cultivation. She was able to have such strength without any exaggeration. However, when she thought of the gap between them, she felt very sad. She felt that he was getting further and further away from her. After Wan Lanxin stopped, Wan Tianlong said, faintly from the courtyard, Exon don't always work so hard. You're already outstanding enough. Wan Tianlong benefited from his daughter and had the opportunity to come to the transcendent realm. Unfortunately, he still lost an arm and his mental state was damaged. It was difficult for him to take another step forward. Fortunately, he was also in the Earthsea realm. Even if he lost an arm, it wouldn't affect his lifespan. Wan Lanxin wiped her sweat and said to her father, "Father, I'm still far from him. How can I not work hard? Have you ever thought that he will change?" Wan Tianlong hesitated for a moment, but still asked the question in his heart. Although Yang Wu brought them to the transcendental world and the Yang family, it didn't mean that he was still the same Yang Wu as before. Be it strength or status, there was a huge disparity between the two of them. Wan Tianlong still felt inferior and worried for his daughter. The transcendent realm was a vast land with abundant resources. There were countless outstanding talents and beauties as common as clouds. Living in such a place, there were too many choices. Who would be able to maintain their original heart? Wan Lanxin revealed a trace of sadness and said, "I don't know if he will change, but I won't change." Yang Wu had returned to the Yang family for more than 2 months. Other than coming back to see them, he had completely disappeared, saying that he was going into seclusion. She didn't feel good at all. She also wondered if Yang Wu was avoiding her, or if he had a change of heart. Just as they were letting their imaginations run wild, Yang Wu quietly came to their door. "Uncle Wan, Sister Lanxin, I'm sorry. I neglected your feelings." Yang Wu had already heard their conversation outside the courtyard. After entering, he sincerely apologized to them without hesitation. Wan Tianlong felt much better. He waved his hand and said, "You have already treated us well. There's no need to be so polite." Yang Wu said, "I have been refining pills for the past 2 months. I specially refined a bone-forming pill for Uncle Wan. It can help Uncle Wan's severed limbs grow back." Regrowing a severed limb was something that could only be done with a holy pill. Wan Tianlong and Wan Lanxin's expressions froze. Then, the two of them revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. They asked in unison, "Really?" Yang Wu took out a pill and handed it over to Wan Tianlong. The pill was round and smooth, with a strand of clear pill markings lingering on the pill body. Waves of medicinal fragrance instantly filled the entire courtyard. This was the holy pill, the bone-forming pill. Wan Lanxin, who was at the side, was both moved and guilty as she said, "Wu, I wrongly blamed you." Yang Wu pulled up Wan Lanxin's hand and said with a smile, "Sister Lanxin, you didn't blame me wrongly. It was all my fault for not thinking things through. I should have told you earlier, but I was afraid that you would be worried about your gains and losses, so I might as well have finished refining it before telling you. Can this really regenerate a severed limb?" Wan Tianlong asked with a trembling voice. "You'll know once you take it back and consume it. However, you should first stabilize your condition and suppress it before consuming it. It should have an effect." Yang Wu replied and took out some medicinal liquid and gave it to Wan Tianlong. He wanted him to use the medicinal liquid to refine his body and eliminate his hidden injuries before consuming the bone-forming pill. It would be more effective. Wan Tianlong did not stand on ceremony as he took the pills and medicinal liquid from Yang Wu and said excitedly, "Good son-in-law, I'll leave my daughter to you from now on. Just don't let her suffer any grievances." After saying that, he quickly returned to his room to recover his severed limb. He had long treated himself as a cripple. He didn't want to see the light at the end of the tunnel and see the hope of recovery. How could he not be happy? Yang Wu looked at Wan Lanxin and said happily, "Sister Lanxin, did you hear that? Bo, father-in-law handed you over to me." Wan Lanxin blushed as she lowered her head and said softly, "I didn't hear that." Her straightforward personality didn't seem to work well at this moment. She had been waiting for this day for a long time. "Sister Lanxin, let's go out for a walk." Yang Wu pulled Wan Lanxin's hand and walked out. Wan Lanxin replied obediently. "Sister Lanxin, I'm sorry for neglecting you during this time. I've wronged you. I won't misunderstand you like this in the future. Don't worry, I've been thinking about you. Since you came to the Yang family this time, you'll be the Yang family's daughter-in-law in the future. Just obediently accept your fate. Actually, I've already accepted my fate 2 years ago. Can't you see? Yang Wu brought Wan Lanxin and chatted as they walked. The two of them rarely enjoyed such a leisurely and comfortable time. Every considerate and heartfelt words warmed her heart. Wan Lanxin's heart was completely at ease. Along the way, they met many Yang family members. When these people saw Yang Wu, they all respectfully greeted him. Greetings, young patriarch. There was no one in the Yang family who did not know Yang Wu. Yang Wu did not put on any airs and politely responded to them one by one. There were simply too many Yang family members. Along the way, the space for the two of them to talk became less and less, forcing Yang Wu to leave with Wan Lanxin and continue to stroll around the Yang family city. This day was the happiest day for Wan Lanxin in the past 2 years. He held her hand, and no matter where they went, there was beautiful scenery. The people they saw were all so cute and kind. The whole world became incomparably lively, and her heart was filled with joy. Yang Wu was not a blockhead. When they were strolling in the city, he bought some new clothes, hair accessories, and so on for Wan Lanxin, which made her very happy. She gradually recovered her valiant character. When she talked to Yang Wu, she also slowly found her original feeling. The gap formed by the gap between them disappeared without a trace. When it was late, the two of them did not return to their family. Instead, they came to the moat and rented a night boat. Night cruises and brothel boats were a part of the scenery in the moat. Many playboys like to come here to date girls and spend the night together. Some wonderful things that happened on the boat were definitely unforgettable. In the pitch-black night, there were little lanterns flickering in the river. They were spaced apart and illuminated the surface of the river with a thin halo. It was as if the river was wearing a yellow gauze dress. It was really intoxicating. Yang Wu and Wan Lanxin hugged each other and talked about the little things that happened in the past 2 years. Wu, these 2 years have been really dangerous for you. Wan Lanxin leaned on his shoulder and said with heartache. Although Yang Wu said it very lightly, she could still think that the process was definitely not that simple. It's okay. Riches and honor are found in danger. If you don't put in the effort, how can you get the rewards? Yang Wu sighed. He also felt that his life was not easy, but to be able to exchange for his current strength and status, he felt that everything was worth it. At least now he could protect his family, lover, and brothers. He was not as passive as before. I also want to work hard to catch up to your footsteps. I don't want to be unable to help at all when something happens and even drag you down. Wan Lanxin said seriously. Even if you don't work hard, I will make you stronger. I have already become a saint alchemist. I can improve your physique and increase your cultivation talent. You are really amazing. Do a lot of beauties like you? No such thing. I am such an honest person. I will definitely not fool around with flowers and grass. Hee. Do you think I don't know anything? I have already asked around. There is a young miss from the Hengshan sect who followed you to the family. Sweat. Our relationship is very pure. We are all friends of morals. It is normal for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. But you can't ignore me. My life has already fallen into your hands a long time ago. Really? Then let me touch here and see if my palm can hold it. Rogue. Love it. The small boat rocked through the night, and the sound of the river water did not stop. The moon shyly hid in the black clouds. The fish in the river shyly hid in the coral. The surrounding boats rippled away from them. It was as if the entire moat was left with only this boat, rocking endlessly. Surprisingly, no one was able to discover the strangeness of this place. The 2 childhood sweethearts finally had a positive result. It was not easy. The next day, a voice faintly sounded from the boat. Wu, don't torment me anymore. I can't take it anymore. Let me go. Wife, what are you thinking? I'm just hugging you and continuing to sleep for a while. Why are you waking up so early? Anyway, no one will disturb us. Let's not. If others see us, it will be embarrassing to death. I can't bear to. In the future, only I can look at you. No one else will have such good fortune. I know. I will be yours for the rest of my life. And I will love you for the rest of my life. Chapter 9:16. Yang Wu and Wan Lanxin's relationship had finally come to fruition. Wan Lanxin became radiant and beautiful overnight, and the charm of a young married woman slowly began to manifest. Yang Wu continued to bring her around the Yang family city to play. He tossed the matter of cultivation to the side, as he wanted to properly relax for a few days. Yang Wu accompanied Wan Lanxin for 7 days and 7 nights. The two of them had completely gone crazy from playing. Wan Lanxin was completely intoxicated by this feeling of happiness and was unable to extricate herself. She wished that she could continue like this with Yang Wu. Even if she did not need to extend her lifespan, it would be worth it. To be able to happily spend the rest of her life with the person she loved was an incomparably fortunate thing. However, Yang Wu was the Yang family's young master and had a heavy burden on his shoulders. Being able to accompany her for 7 days and 7 nights was already enough for her. Moreover, there was still plenty of time in the future, so she should not be seizing every moment. She kindly said, "Well, we should go back. These 7 days were the happiest days of my life. I will remember it for the rest of my life." She coiled up her hair, revealing a pair of delicate jade ears. Her 2 earlobes were like pearls, making one unable to resist the urge to play with them. Yang Wu reached out and gently touched her earlobes as he said, "I will make you happy for the rest of your life. And I know. However, you should go do your own things. I don't want to drag you down. The clansmen will curse me to death." Wan Lanxin gently leaned into Yang Wu's embrace as she spoke. Yang Wu wrapped his arm around her shoulder and smiled as he said, "If anyone dares to curse you, I will tear their mouth apart." After pausing for a moment, he said, "I really should make a trip to the Alchemist Alliance's headquarters. I urgently need to announce my identity as a Saint Alchemist. This will greatly benefit the Yang family. Why don't you come with me?" Over the past few days, he and Wan Lanxin had been stuck together like glue. Their relationship was constantly warming up, and he liked her more and more. Whether it was in bed or out of bed, he couldn't bear to part with her. This was a woman who was true to her appearance. She was valiant on the battlefield, and she was the same in bed. She often took the initiative to ask for more. She even cooperated with him to try out some combat skills. From the nuanced stage, she quickly reached the proficient stage. Some combat skills could even reach the perfect stage without a teacher. Wan Lanxin lightly shook her head, revealing a firm gaze as she said, "I want to speed up my cultivation. I don't want to drag you down." "Have you decided?" Yang Wu asked gently. Wan Lanxin nodded heavily and said, "Of course, even if I can't catch up to you in the short term, I don't want to be left further and further behind. Otherwise, how can I compare to the eldest miss of the Hung Mountain sect?" Yang Wu bitterly smiled and said, "All right, I'll have one of the clan saints teach you and help you become stronger as soon as possible." Wan Lanxin didn't refuse. Her starting point was already quite slow. If she didn't work hard to catch up, she would feel so inferior that she wouldn't be able to stay by his side in the future. He had already told her about Ziyu. It would be a lie if she said she wasn't jealous, but this matter couldn't be changed. She could only become more outstanding and make Yang Wu like her even more in the future. Yang Wu brought Wan Lanxin back to the Yang family and gave her a lot of cultivation resources. He also personally went to find Saint Yang Liuyu, hoping that he could take Wan Lanxin as his disciple. Yang Liuyu was the Yang family's top saint. It was more than enough for him to teach Wan Lanxin. Yang Wu also thought of having Gong Silan teach Wan Lanxin, but he rejected it in the end. Gong Silan was the Yang family's stabilizing force. She needed to protect the Yang family at all times and continue to cultivate. She didn't have time to teach Wan Lanxin. Yang Liuyu didn't even think about Yang Wu's request and agreed. Yang Wu had made too many contributions to the Yang family. His request wasn't too excessive. Yang Liuyu had no reason to refuse. Even if the person recommended by Yang Wu had average talent, he would still do his best to teach them. Moreover, that girl was Yang Wu's wife, so he had to pay attention to her. After Wan Tianlong found out that the Yang family's saint had taken Wan Lanxin as his disciple, he was overjoyed. He was even happier than if he had regrown his arm. This meant that Wan Lanxin could become stronger and establish her position in Yang Wu's heart. The father and daughter were no longer rootless duckweeds in this new place. Wan Tianlong also had the intention to continue cultivating. It would be good even if he could break through to the heavenly fish realm. He had taken the bone-forming pill refined by Yangwu. Not only had his arm regrown, but his physique had also improved. It would be no problem for him to raise his realm if he worked hard. Yangwu naturally wouldn't neglect his father-in-law. He found an elder in the dragon transformation realm to take care of one Tianlong and gave him a lot of cultivation resources. At least, he wouldn't have to worry about breaking through to the heavenly fish realm. After doing all this, Yangwu immediately went to see the 5 heroes' roaming swords. Dark Sword Tang 1, Fleeing Sword Zheng Su, Wave Sword Li Xiao, Xian Sword Yu Xian, and Dusk Sword Gu. She were all in their 20s. The oldest, Tang 1, was 30 years old. They were all geniuses of the transcendent world. Each of them had broken through to the heavenly fish realm. Among them, Tang 1 had reached the intermediate heavenly fish realm. "Greetings, my lord," the 5 heroes' roaming swords said in unison when they saw Yangwu. "You don't have to be so polite with your brothers," Yangwu said. Then he said, "Attack me with all your strength. Let me see how strong you are." "My lord, this isn't necessary." Tang 1 laughed dryly. "My lord, your realm has improved too quickly. Even if there were dozens or hundreds of us, we wouldn't be your match," Zheng Su said. "Don't worry. I will suppress my strength to the heavenly fish realm. I won't bully you," Yangwu said with a smile. "Really?" Gushi said excitedly. Among the 5 swords, Gushi was the most talented. She had reached the peak of the beginner heavenly fish realm and was only 1 step away from the intermediate heavenly fish realm. "Of course," Yangwu said with certainty. Therefore, the 5 heroes' roaming swords did not hesitate to join forces and attack. The 5 of them corresponded to the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Together with the 5-element sword formation, the power that erupted was quite impressive. The colorful sword light shrouded Yangwu from different directions, blocking all of Yangwu's attack routes and retreat routes. Tang 1's hidden attack, Zheng Su's lower body attack, Li Zhao's ethereal sword shadow, Yu Xian's dazzling sword qi, and Gushi's extreme yang sword light formed a powerful sword net. The power was quite amazing. Even an advanced heavenly fish realm expert would find it difficult to withstand. They could completely compete with the strength of a top heavenly fish realm expert. The speed of the 5 of them improving their realm was not as fast as the top geniuses, but it was definitely not slow. If there was a better opportunity, they still had a chance to catch up. In their opinion, their attack was already flawless. Unless they met someone stronger than them, they could break it with absolute strength. They did not think that many people in the same realm could deal with it. Yangwu suppressed his strength to the beginner heavenly fish realm, but his eyesight was still there. He could even catch the attack of an ordinary saint in the Starline realm. Their sword formation was even more vulnerable in his eyes. The slow attack trajectory and the obvious flaws of the sword net. He replaced the sword with his fingers and gently slashed in 5 different directions. 5 sword fingers lightly fell on their wrists. 5 painful cries rang out, and 5 swords fell to the ground at the same time. Yangwu broke the sword formation with 1 move. The 5 heroes' roaming swords covered their painful hands, and their faces were full of disbelief. The sword formation that they had trained hard for a long time was broken by Yangwu in 1 move. If it was Yangwu's enemy, they would be completely destroyed in 1 move. "I've hurt you," Yangwu said with self-blame. "Why you say that, my lord? We're fine." Tang 1 said, "You're all outstanding geniuses of various forces. After following me, it seems that your realm has improved a little, but your offensive skills are incomparably weak, and your foundation is not solid enough. It's my fault," Yangwu said with shame. Li Xiao said, "My lord, it's only been a year, and we can improve our strength today thanks to your medicinal liquid. Our foundation is much more solid, and we're all grateful to you." Yu Xian nodded and said, "That's right. Even if I was in the sect, I wouldn't be able to improve to this realm in a year." Yangwu waved his hand and said, "No, if you didn't follow me, and instead traveled around and experienced all kinds of hardships, even if you didn't improve so quickly, your foundation would be more solid than now. Your attacks wouldn't be as weak as before, and there was no murderous intent. I've really delayed you. For the next 7 days, I'll feed you, guide you, and impart you some cultivation experience. I hope you'll remember it carefully." The 5 heroes of Roaming Sword were overjoyed and thanked him in unison. "Thank you, my lord." Next, Yang Wu brought them to the Yang family's cultivation field and called Lu Ji, Su Yin Shui, Yang Hongchong, Yang Jie by Luoyin, Ai Sha, and Shui Xiaofan over. As for Wuho Gang Shui Ji, Du Guang Fo, and Zheng Xiaohu, they weren't qualified to stay in the Yang family and were arranged to stay in the outer courtyard of the Yang family. Yang Wu planned to arrange for a peak heavenly fish realm attendant to train them and harden them severely so that they could adapt to the cruel environment of the transcendental world. He would find a chance to teach them personally in the future. When everyone was present, Yang Wu first used a day to impart his cultivation experience to him. After cultivating in the God of War Pagoda for 10 years, he had a deep understanding. Furthermore, he had obtained the consciousness inheritance of the Yang family's ancestors and his master's cultivation experience inheritance. He was completely qualified to talk about the path of cultivation. The reason why he called everyone over was that he planned to impart to them all at once. He couldn't delay any longer. He had to make a trip to the Apothecary Alliance. After he returned, he had to make the best use of his time to cultivate. The Dragon Phoenix List tournament was about to begin. He couldn't help but be nervous. His mission was to obtain the title of Dragon Emperor. This wasn't an ordinary goal. It was countless times crueler than the Heavenly King List tournament. All the top prodigies and monsters in the transcendental world would appear. It would be a great battle. Yang Wu didn't think that he was invincible in this world. He could hone his strength to perfection in every realm. Those monsters from ancient factions would definitely be able to do it. For example, Xin Yuan Huowu, whom he had met in God of War City. Her talent and combat ability were definitely not inferior to his. In the transcendental world, she wasn't the only one who could compare to him. There were probably many other people who could do the same. Chapter 9:17. This was Yang Wu's first time talking about the martial Tao. Most of it came from the experiences that his master had imparted to him. He then combined them with his own experiences to share his insights. As for whether they could gain anything from it, that would depend on them. Yang Wu originally thought that they would be bored listening to him. But who would have thought that after he finished speaking, everyone present would enter a meditative state and memorize every word he said in their hearts? Even if they couldn't understand it for the time being, or couldn't do it, they forced themselves to remember everything Yang Wu said. Yang Wu's growth experience was too monstrous. Who wouldn't want to learn from him and soar into the sky? It was very rare for him to be able to impart the Tao calmly. In the future, when he became stronger, it wouldn't be so easy for him to preach the Tao again, even to those closest to him. Yang Wu unknowingly became a little intoxicated. Rather than saying that he was preaching the Tao, it would be better to say that he was reflecting on himself. In the process of preaching the Tao, his divine court Tao flower kept swaying. His soul entered a strange state, as if it was separated from his physical body. It was like he was comparing himself with a mirror, discovering the advantages and disadvantages of his cultivation process. The subtle discoveries during this process were infinitely magnified, and he quickly understood how to solve and perfect them. If other sages were here, they would definitely exclaim, "Contrast realm." The contrast realm was not a mirror of comparison. It was an ethereal state of self-reflection. Anyone who entered this state could further perfect their great Tao. Yang Wu had cultivated in the God of War Pagoda for 10 more years. He had always felt that he had polished himself to perfection without any flaws. Now, he realized that he had been too full of himself. The general direction of cultivation wasn't wrong, but there were still many small loopholes. It wasn't completely perfect, and some small loopholes couldn't be fixed easily. They might not have much of an impact in the short term, but in the long term, it was a small hidden danger. It was more appropriate to say that it was a weakness. When facing other battle-type monsters, these weaknesses would be infinitely magnified and become the flaws of the other party's attacks. If Yang Wu had discovered it early, he would have been able to solve these loopholes and perfect his martial arts. Now, he possessed the Tao of Death, Tao of Alchemy, Jinwu Boxing, and Sword Intent. These were all great Taos that other cultivators could only come across by chance. Now that they were all gathered in his body, he had to further improve and perfect them. This would play a great role in his battle, and it also meant which aspect of martial arts he would be able to achieve in the future. For example, Zhang Su's swordsmanship was too rigid and lacked flexibility, which made it difficult for him to exert the power of the hidden sword, so he had to further strengthen his body movement. For example, Li Zhao's fighting style was too elegant, which made his movements look good, but he lost the attacking power of the battle. Yang Wu taught them one by one, but it did not mean that he was right. He also did not expect them to completely follow his instructions. He just reminded them and pointed out their weaknesses so that they could better understand themselves and improve their cultivation. After a few days, everyone's fighting power had increased by 20 to 30%. The effect was very obvious. Yang Wu handed over another batch of liquid medicine and elixirs to them. The following days were up to them. Yang Wu summoned the roving sword 5 heroes separately. He had something to tell them. "How have you been these days?" Yang Wu looked at them and smiled. Gushi was the first to say, very good. Thank you, my lord, for your guidance. I'm just talking about my experience. It's best that you can learn something." Yang Wu responded, and then he said, "This time I called you here because I have something to tell you. From today onwards, I want you to regain your freedom and travel as before. Whether you travel together or practice separately, I will no longer care about you." Yu Xian panicked and said, "My lord, do you think that our cultivation speed is too slow? My lord, you think that we are a burden?" Tang Wen sighed. Yang Wu hurriedly waved his hand and said, "What are you thinking? If that's the case, why would I teach you martial arts? I asked you to leave because I sincerely hope that you can constantly improve yourselves, not because you want to rely on me. Only by going out can you find the opportunity that belongs to you." "Really?" the 5 swords asked at the same time. Yang Wu nodded and said, "The young Hall King, Kuan Xian, Jiang Ping, and the others that I met in the broken space have all reached the top divine fish realm. Some even broke through to the dragon transformation realm. Their cultivation speed is very fast. Your talents are not bad, and each of you has the inheritance of a big sect. Even if your achievements are not as good as theirs, they will not be too far behind. It is because of this consideration that I let you leave." After a pause, he said in a more serious tone, "You are my brothers." Yang Wu sincerely regarded the roving sword 5 heroes as his brothers. Otherwise, he would not be so sincere. The roving sword 5 heroes heard Yang Wu's words and felt very uncomfortable. They chose to follow Yang Wu because they felt that he was a worthy person. He was not only an alchemist, but also a talented young man like them. They thought that they could grow together and make a name for themselves in the future. Who knew that they had only been separated from Yang Wu for a year, and Yang Wu had already pulled open a huge gap between them. They felt that the gap was not ordinary. If this continued, they would feel inferior to Yang Wu. Yang Wu letting them go was the best decision he could have made. In this way, they would no longer be bound and could cultivate more freely. It was possible for them to find the opportunity that belonged to them. They also did not need to be suppressed by Yang Wu. Staying with Yang Wu would indeed affect their state of mind. After the roving sword 5 heroes were silent for a while, Tang Wen said, "We are not good enough. If we were better, the Lord would not be in such a difficult position." After a pause, he said, "We will listen to the Lord. Today, we will have a good drink with the Lord. Tomorrow, we will start to explore the world and find the opportunity that belongs to us. We will become stronger as soon as possible so that we can fight side by side with the Lord in the future." "That's right. Let's have a good drink. Otherwise, I will be very unhappy." Zhang Su said, "Today, we will get the Lord drunk. We can't beat you, but we will drink better than you. We will not go home until we are drunk." On this day, Yang Wu and the roving sword 5 heroes had a good drink. They talked a lot together, but no one knew whether it was from the heart or because they were drunk. In the end, they fell asleep with their arms around each other's shoulders. After dawn the next day, Yang Wu personally sent the roving sword 5 heroes out of the Yang family. When the roving sword 5 heroes parted ways with Yang Wu, the 5 of them knelt down on one knee before Yang Wu and said in unison, "Lord, take care." They were all proud and arrogant geniuses. They had already lowered themselves by choosing to follow Yang Wu. Now that they knelt down to Yang Wu, it proved that Yang Wu had deeply impressed them. The roving sword 5 heroes left. They straightened their backs, as if they were 5 peerless divine weapons that had just appeared in the world, and began to sharpen their sharpness. Yang Wu watched them leave and murmured, "I hope you understand my painstaking efforts." Suddenly, a beautiful figure quietly appeared behind him, and a voice rang out, "You always do so many things for others, but don't you think for yourself? In fact, if you keep them and train them well, they can share a lot of your burden." Yang Wu didn't even need to turn his head to know who had come. He smiled faintly and said, "What does a woman know?" Chapter 9:18. White-hair sorceress Yun Shi, a woman who was once regarded as a love rival by the saintess of the Xing family. Her origin was very mysterious. No one knew where she came from. She was severely injured by the saintess of the Xing family, Xing Sherman, and was thrown into the city of redemption. She was still able to endure the humiliation and wait for a chance to make a comeback. This was not something an ordinary person could do. She was lucky to be able to meet Yang Wu in the city of redemption. Even though she was once controlled by him, now that she thought about it, she did not regret it at all. Instead, she was glad that she met Yang Wu. If it weren't for Yang Wu, how could she have broken through to the Star Rune realm? That's right, the one who appeared behind Yang Wu was white-hair sorceress Yun Shi. Recently, she had broken through to the Star Rune realm by relying on her own ability. Her entire temperament had undergone earth-shaking changes. Her cold and elegant face had a bit more rosy, as smooth and delicate as a baby's. Her beautiful eyes were suffused with a trace of radiance. She was no longer as lifeless as before. Her entire body exuded a dazzling halo, as if a fairy from the moon had descended to the mortal world. She was a woman who could make the saintess of the Xing family jealous. Not only was her talent and cultivation outstanding, but she was also a peerless beauty. She was not inferior to Ziyu Yu and Meng Bingxue. Shu Yujun and Wan Lanqin were still lacking compared to her. Yang Wu looked at white-hair sorceress, who had undergone a great change. He reached out and gently stroked her white hair, saying, "You have broken through to the Star Rune realm. Why is your hair still white? Is it natural?" White-hair sorceress smiled sweetly like 100 flowers blooming together. Her surroundings were overshadowed. She said, "I wasn't born with white hair. I'm just used to it. I think it's pretty good. There's no need to change back to my original appearance." Yang Wu looked at this soul-stirring woman and said with a smile, "That's right. Smile more. Who knows how many men will be charmed by you. Don't pull a long face all day, as if you have a deep hatred for everyone. That's not good. My lord, if you like it, I'll only smile at you in the future," White-hair sorceress said seriously. Yang Wu stroked white-hair sorceress's cheeks and said, "Do you really intend to stay by my side forever? With your current strength, you can completely regain your freedom. Don't worry, I won't restrict you anymore." White-hair sorceress and said gently, "As long as you don't despise me, I will stay by your side for the rest of my life." Yang Wu was stunned for a moment. He could read the white-hair demoness' deep feelings from her eyes. Without waiting for him to speak, she said again, "Can you accompany me for a walk?" Yang Wu naturally couldn't refuse. He let her hold his hand and walked aimlessly while listening to her talk about her enmity with Xing Sherman. Once upon a time, she and Xing Sherman were best friends to the point where they could talk about anything and everything. The two of them worked together to explore the world, entering various secret realms in search of opportunities. Until one day, they met an extremely outstanding man. This man didn't have a powerful background, but he was extremely talented. Xing Sherman developed a good impression of him, and she also had a good impression of him. The three of them formed a very subtle relationship. As they got along, Xing Sherman pursued that man madly, who knew that the man would develop a good impression of Yunqi. In the end, he rejected Xing Sherman's pursuit and expressed his love for Yunqi. Because of this, Xing Sherman and Yunqi's relationship instantly fell apart. Xing Sherman felt that Yunqi was the one who sabotaged her, causing her to fail. She hated Yunqi to the core, and she also hated that man. On the surface, Xing Sherman appeared to be very magnanimous and didn't mind their relationship. However, she started to sabotage them secretly. On one hand, she wanted to destroy Yunqi. On the other hand, she wanted to find ways to get rid of Yunqi. Only in this way would she have a chance with him. Until one day, when they were in danger, Xing Sherman deliberately schemed to severely injure Yunqi. When a man wanted to save her, he was killed by Xing Sherman. She then began to humiliate Yunqi, disfiguring her face and throwing her into the City of Redemption, making it impossible for her to see the light of day again for the rest of her life. The City of Redemption wasn't just an ordinary prison. It was filled with an extremely dense demonic aura. If one stayed there for a long time, they would be contaminated by the demonic aura and embark on a path of no return. Xing Sherman wanted Yunqi to live a life worse than death. After listening to Yunqi's story, Yang Wu couldn't help but sigh. It's not unreasonable to guard against fire, theft, and your best friend. After a pause, he held her hand tightly and said, "It's all in the past. If you meet that vicious woman in the future, just kill her with your sword." "Amen. I won't let her off," Yunqi said with a trace of killing intent. The Xing family isn't easy to deal with. Don't make a move unless you're absolutely certain. Let me take care of this matter for you. It just so happens that the Yang family and the Xing family are like fire and water. Sooner or later, the Xing family will pay the price. My lord, you have a bright future ahead of you. Don't take risks so easily. It's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. As long as my lord successfully enters the Jade Moon Realm, who in the world will be your opponent? The Jade Moon Realm. This is already a legendary realm. Who knows how long it will take to reach it? With my lord's talent, it won't take more than 1,000 years. After spending half a day with Yunqi, Yang Wu called over Hong Mo, Hong Ying, Flying Tiger, and the others. Yang Wu decided to assign them to the Zhulang gang to help defend against the Leaf family's attacks. These people were all pirates. Keeping them in the Yang family would only smooth out their edges and corners. This wasn't what Yang Wu wanted to see. Keeping them in the most dangerous place would allow them to maintain their ferocious nature, which would be a better way to deter the enemy. These people would be led by Yunqi. They would cooperate with the Zhulang gang's Liang Rulong to guard the Yang family's borders. Yunqi hesitated for a moment before agreeing to Yang Wu's arrangement. She really wanted to stay by Yang Wu's side, but with Qing Feng around, she wouldn't be of much use. She might as well share some of the burden with Yang Wu. She also needed some time to consolidate her current strength. Yang Wu gave a lot of cultivation resources to Yunqi, including a saint pill for breaking through to the star pattern realm. This was prepared for Flying Tiger. If Flying Tiger was obedient, she would reward him with a saint pill. There were also saint pills that could help Hong Mo and Hong Ying reach the next level. Apart from that, he also assigned by Luo Yun and Yang Jinlong to the Zhulang gang. It was located in the Yangtze River Basin, which was more suitable for them to cultivate. As for the silver pattern turtle, Yang Wu planned to keep it by his side and train it. It would allow it to adapt to the transcendent realm's environment and help it reach the next level. Yang Wu had high hopes for the silver pattern turtle's potential. This fellow had once displayed an extraordinary side when it was only a demonic king. Later on, it had been very difficult for him to accept it as a subordinate. In the 2 years that they had been apart, the silver pattern turtle wasn't like the fire cloud tiger. It didn't give up and didn't want to improve. It had been working hard on its cultivation and had reached the mid-level heaven demon realm. Its battle prowess wasn't any weaker than a high-level heaven demon. If it was properly nurtured, it would definitely become a good mount. In the 2 years that Yang Wu had collected a lot of turtle cores, It was enough to properly feed the silver-patterned turtle. Yang Wu felt that it was about time to leave for the Apothecary Alliance. Old Zue had been waiting for this day for a long time. Just as Yang Wu was about to leave with Old Zue, Yang Jinghai suddenly summoned Yang Wu and Old Zue. When they arrived at the meeting hall, Yang Jinghai couldn't help but say, "Yang Wu, the Xing family has increased your bounty again. What's going on?" Yang Wu was confused. In the next moment, Yang Jinghai handed over a piece of paper to Yang Wu. Yang Wu took a look at it and realized that his portrait was drawn on the paper, along with some simple information about him. At the bottom, it was written, "Bounty of 1,000,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones, 10 Saint elixir pills, and 3 Saint weapons." Old Zue couldn't help but exclaim when he saw the bounty. "Are they trying to kill a high-level saint?" Yang Wu smiled bitterly. "The Xing family really thinks highly of me. Take a look at this." Yang Jinghai took out a scroll made of extremely strange materials. Its paper looked like jade, but it wasn't. It emitted a sparkling light and looked very strange. Yang Wu didn't know what kind of scroll this was, but Old Zue knew very well. This was the Divine Divination Pavilion's Book of Heavenly Secrets. With the Book of Heavenly Secrets, one could know everything in the world without even leaving one's home. This was a scroll made from the Divine Divination Pavilion Stone of Heavenly Secrets. Each scroll was worth as much as a top-grade divine artifact. Furthermore, it wasn't something an ordinary faction could have. Only a major faction or a top-grade faction could buy a book of heavenly secrets from the Divine Divination Pavilion. The Divine Divination Pavilion was the most mysterious organization in the transcendent world. No one knew what kind of faction they were, and no one knew where their territory was. However, they were able to collect all the major events that happened in the world and record them in the Book of Heavenly Secrets. Every major faction would be the first to know what happened in the world. The most authoritative rankings in the transcendent world were all made by the Divine Divination Pavilion. Soon, the Dragon Phoenix rankings would also be given out by the Divine Divination Pavilion. No one doubted their authority. The Divine Divination Pavilion seemed to be everywhere, but it was also unfathomable. There had been people who tried to dig out the details of the Divine Divination Pavilion, but in the end, those people who tried to find clues would mysteriously disappear. The Divine Divination Pavilion wasn't a major faction. It was one of the ancient hidden factions. The page that Yang Jinghai handed to Yang Wu recorded everything that happened after Yang Wu rose from the broken space. They even had records of things that happened in the mortal world. After Yang Wu finished reading it, his back broke out in a cold sweat. He muttered, "Clan leader, what is going on? Why are my matters recorded so clearly here?" Yang Jinghai lightly patted Yang Wu's shoulder and said, "Don't be afraid. This Book of Heavenly Secrets is the Divine Fortune Teller Tower's holy book. It can also be called a divine book. It knows about all the major events in the world. Your information was gathered by them. Their people are everywhere, and it's impossible to guard against them. Even if I, the Patriarch, do something, I can't escape their eyes and ears. You've done so many big things in the past 2 years. It's impossible for them not to pay attention to you." Chapter 919. The Xing family had increased the bounty on Yang Wu because the Book of Heaven's Secrets had revealed the latest information about him. The news that Yang would become a saint alchemist in the City of Confusion had already spread to the Divination Pavilion. The Xing family had the Book of Heaven's Secrets, so they were able to find out about Yang Wu's situation immediately. The value of a saint alchemist was no less than that of a high-level saint. In fact, their influence was even greater. At the same time, the Xing family also realized that the alliance between the Dan family and the Yang family probably had something to do with Yang Wu. They had to come up with a countermeasure and kill Yang Wu in order to stop the Yang family's momentum. Because of this, Yang Wu's name was on the Book of Heaven's Secrets bounty list. This bounty list was not simple. Anyone who could enter the top 10,000 must be extremely valuable. Many factions and cultivators could obtain this information from other sources even without the Book of Heaven's Secrets. Many experts would go and kill the people on the bounty list to obtain great rewards. This meant that no matter where Yang Wu went, he would be watched by others. His life could be in danger at any time. This was why Yang Jinghai had urgently summoned Yang Wu. I didn't expect you to be so hateful. Old Zue looked at Yang Wu with a gloating smile. Yang Wu laughed dryly. Aren't all capable people like that? Yang Wu, I'm not joking. I called you here because I don't want you to leave the family. I don't want you to be plotted against, Yang Jinghai said solemnly. Yang Wu smiled. Family leader, I understand your intentions, but I can't stay in the family forever. Sister Feng will protect me. Nothing will happen to me. After a pause, he said confidently, besides, it won't be that easy for anyone to take my life. Yang Wu, don't be impulsive. You're more important than me right now, Yang Jinghai said in a deep voice. Yang Jinghai said in a deep voice. Then, he looked at Old Zue and said, Old Zue, please forgive me. I don't want Yang Wu to leave this place for the time being. Old Man Zhe opened a jug of wine and took a sip to moisten his throat. This time, this old man will naturally be responsible for Yang Wu's safety when he goes to the Alliance. You can rest assured. Yang Jinghai's face revealed a difficult expression. Yang Wu's matter was of great importance. He really didn't want anything to happen to Yang Wu. Yang Wu emphasized again, Clan leader, don't worry. I will disguise myself when I go out. I am not a brainless person. I still want to live for a few more years. This time, I will go out quickly and return quickly. I will not delay. Sigh. I also know that a restless brat like you won't listen to advice. Since that's the case, you have to be careful in everything you do. Go to your great-grandmother and ask for a jade tube. I believe that she won't refuse. Only then can I be at ease. Great-grandmother has already prepared it for me. You brat, hurry up and go. Come back early to prepare for the Dragon Phoenix list. Just like that, Yang Wu left the Yang family with Old Man Zhe. This time, he only brought Blue Phoenix and the Silver Pattern Turtle. He didn't bring anyone else. He didn't emphasize that he was going out. He didn't think that the Xing family's bounty was a joke. He put on makeup and became an ordinary young man. Even those who were familiar with him might not be able to recognize him. Yang Wu and Old Man Zue used the space door to continuously teleport. They didn't stop for even a moment. The headquarters of the Apothecary Alliance was in the south of the Kunlun Mountains. It was in the Kunlun realm. The Kunlun Mountains and the Sky Mountain Range were the two ancient mountain ranges with the most herbs. The Kunlun Mountains were also in the Kunlun Mountains. However, they were in the north and were quite far from the south. Along the way, Yang Wu and Old Man Zue talked a lot about the Apothecary Alliance. Old Man Zhe only talked about some superficial things and didn't go into the details of the internal affairs. He kept saying that he would only be qualified to know those things after he became a holy elder. Yang Wu didn't continue to delve into it. As long as he could use the Apothecary Alliance as a holy elder, he could get more benefits. For example, he could find some rare herbs, or his family could get a discount from the Apothecary Alliance. Old Man Zue was very grateful for the wine. He always wanted the recipe for Yang Wu's Zue 8 Immortals, but he didn't want to ask directly. He felt that it was embarrassing to ask a junior for a recipe. Yang Wu wasn't stupid. He could understand what Old Man Zue meant. He didn't hesitate and purposely repeated the recipe. Whether Old Man Zue could remember it or not depended on whether Old Man Zue could remember it or not. Old Man Zue was overjoyed after receiving the recipe. He took out another jug of wine and handed it to Yang Wu, saying, Brat, you're a smart person. This old man will treat you to a drink. Yang Wu accepted Old Man Zue's wine and drank it in large mouthfuls. After he drank half the jug, Old Man Zue said, Brat, this wine has a strong aftertaste. Drink it slowly. Old Man Zue must have done it on purpose. Why didn't he say anything in the beginning? Yang Wu accepted the jug of wine. He felt as if his throat and stomach were being torn apart. He couldn't help but cry out, What a strong wine! What a strong wine! Old Man Zue's voice sounded again. Use the profound arts to refine it. Yang Wu didn't need him to say anything. He was already using the sovereign profound arts. This was a medicinal wine. Many of the medicinal ingredients turned into wisps of energy that seeped into Yang Wu's organs. Yang Wu felt as if his entire body was filled with vitality. He felt extremely comfortable. What a good wine. Yang Wu couldn't help but praise. Old Man Zhe was stunned for a moment before saying, "That's it. What else do you want?" Yang Wu looked at Old Man Zue in confusion. Old Man Zue waved his hand and said, "Nothing much. Brat, your alcohol tolerance is quite good." At this moment, the silver-patterned tortoise that they were sitting on opened its mouth and said, "I also want to drink a mouthful of wine." Yang Wu didn't stand on ceremony. He threw the jug of wine towards the silver-patterned tortoise's mouth and said, "For you." The silver-patterned tortoise opened its mouth and drank all the remaining wine in the jug. Just as it finished speaking, it directly fell from the sky, giving Yang Wu a big fright. "Little Silver, what are you doing?" Old Man Zue was already in the air. He scolded with a smile, "Brat, you really wasted a heavenly treasure." Yang Wu reached out and grabbed the silver-patterned tortoise. He asked Old Man Zhe, "Is this wine not suitable for demonic beasts?" Old Man Zhe stroked his beard and said, No, you'll be fine after drinking it, but it doesn't mean that he'll be fine after drinking it." Yang Wu was stunned for a moment. He instantly understood what was going on. It turned out that the effects of the wine were too strong. The silver-patterned tortoise couldn't withstand it at all and directly became drunk. "Brat, this is Saint Physique wine. Many small saints want to drink it, but can't get it. You're quite generous to give it to your mouth." Old Man Zhe said with a smile. Saint Physique wine was a Saint Physique wine that could create a Saint Physique. Ordinary saints could strengthen their physique after drinking it. Small saints could even create a Saint Physique after drinking it. Yang Wu had already created a Saint Physique, and it was created perfectly. The Saint Physique wine's effect on him wasn't as obvious as imagined. This was something that Old Man Zue didn't expect. Yang Wu touched his nose and said, "I've let down Old Man Ze's good intentions. This isn't much. I just didn't expect your physical body to be so abnormal. Actually, I should have thought about it. You can resist the Saint Lightning. Your physical body is extraordinary. What a waste of this old man's Saint Physique wine. Hee, it's not that exaggerated. I did feel very comfortable just now. Give me 10 pots and leave it for me to drink. Go away. 10 pots. The value of each pot is no less than a Saint Elixir. I can only give you 3 pots at most. Old Man Zue, you're too stingy. You're a Saint Pharmacist. Don't you think it's embarrassing to give out 3 pots of medicinal wine? Since we know each other, just give me 9 pots. Do you think it's inferior wine on the street? I can only give you 4 pots at most. Take it or leave it. Forget it. I don't ask for too much. Just give me 8 pots." After some bargaining, Yang Wu finally got 6 pots of Saint Physique wine from Old Man Zue. If others knew about this, their jaws would drop. Who could get so much Saint Physique wine from Old Man Zue, who was known as a miser? It was definitely a big story. Unknowingly, Yang Wu followed Old Man Zue to a barren area without a spatial door. They were not too far away from Kunlun's field. After drinking Old Man Zue's Saint Physique wine, the silver-patterned turtle had been in a drunken state. Its demonic qi kept growing. Obviously, it was digesting. If it were not for Qing Feng carrying it, Yang Wu would have to carry it. After arriving here, Old Man Zhe looked serious and said, "Seems like your life is very valuable. Someone is following us." Yang Wu and Qing Feng both sensed that something was wrong. Their expressions turned cold. All of a sudden, an earth-shattering fist aura swept over from a certain direction. It was as if a mountain was moving horizontally, and its power was incomparably astonishing. Qing Feng raised her delicate hand. A streak of green light was like a sharp blade. It quickly hit that huge fist light. Bang! Qi exploded in the sky. The rolling Qi waves were like a storm, blowing the surrounding rocks and turning the grass into powder. Qing Feng would not passively defend. Thick murderous intent appeared in her eyes. She yelled, "Kill!" At that moment, with her as the center, the sky full of feathers turned into green blades and stabbed toward a direction. The densely packed spatial feathers blotted out the sky and blocked out the sun. The space within a radius of several kilometers was completely sealed off. How terrifying was its destructive power! Qing Feng was a 4-star demonic saint. She was infinitely close to 5-star. Ordinary saints could not compare to her. The newcomer's strength was clearly not inferior to Qing Feng's. He swung his fists incessantly, and they were like numerous, enormous mountains that rose from the ground and smashed towards Yuling. In the blink of an eye, countless fragments of Xian energy fell incessantly, and the ground was smashed into countless deep craters. Yang Wu carried the silver-patterned turtle and quickly retreated. Old man Zue's eyes flashed with an imperceptible light. In another direction, a streak of sword light suddenly tore through the sky and slashed toward Yang Wu. This streak of sword light was clearly much weaker than the fist light. However, ordinary saints would not be able to take it. They are really coming for me, Yang Wu murmured. He was covered in the black tortoise armor. His battle chi was raised to the extreme. Even if he could not block it, he had to give it a try. Chapter 920. Ever since Yang Wu entered the dragon transformation realm, his battle prowess was comparable to a peak half-saint. He could even put up a fight against an ordinary saint. In terms of pure battle prowess, it would be very difficult for him to face a saint head-on. After reaching the Star Rune realm, one's reactions would become different and their attack power would greatly increase. It wasn't something a half-saint could compare to. Yang Wu's courage to attack a saint was already very impressive. Yang Wu struck out with his peak fist. The Jinwu boxing Dao and the Dao of Death superimposed on each other. It was as if the sun and moon were reversed, and life and death were reincarnated. The terrifying fist energy collided with the sword ray. Yang Wu's fist energy was astonishing. Even a half-saint wouldn't be able to withstand it. Unfortunately, under the sword intent of a saint, the sword ray was cut in half and fell between his eyebrows. Yang Wu could vaguely capture the sword's trajectory, but unfortunately, he couldn't block it. He could only use the black tortoise armor to block it, hoping to block it. At the critical moment, a palm reached out in the air and caught the sword chi in its hand. You dare to hurt someone in front of this old man? You're looking down on this old man, the old man said faintly. In the next moment, the claw energy condensed and the sword ray instantly shattered. Who are you? How dare you meddle in the affairs of us bounty hunters? A saint carrying a sword quietly appeared and shouted. Bounty hunters. This was an organization that specialized in hunting down people on the bounty list. Each and every one of them was valiant and dared to challenge various kinds of difficult bounty missions. Yang Wu was their prey, and they had been waiting for a long time for him to appear. They vowed to take his head to obtain the bounty. Yang Wu's disguise skills didn't mean much to them. They were all experts in hunting and had the ability to distinguish people. Unless Yang Wu completely changed his appearance or body, he wouldn't be able to escape their eyes. This brat is a member of our Alchemist Alliance. This old man will protect him. Hurry up and scram, the old man said without any trace of politeness. Even if he's a member of the Alchemist Alliance, he won't be able to escape our hunt, the Sword Saint coldly said. Bounty hunters only recognized money and prey. No matter what power the other party was from, as long as they accepted the mission, they would not back down. The Sword Saint attacked again. Strands of sword chi pierced through the sky, so fast that no one could catch them. Yang Wu could not take such an attack. Fortunately, old man Zue was by his side. He waved his hand and wrapped the sword chi into a ball, then flicked it back at the Sword Saint. The Sword Saint didn't expect the drunken old man to be so powerful. When his own attack bounced back, the Sword Saint was startled. He once again waved his sword to block his own attack. Unfortunately, Elder Zay's strength shook the Sword Saint to the point that he vomited blood and was sent flying. Elder Zue's alchemist wasn't good at attacking, but he could easily deal with a saint who was weaker than him. Stubborn, do you think this old man won't get angry? The drunken old man said in a bad mood. An earth-shattering palm of fire descended, as if a sea of fire had descended from the sky. The Sword Saint was so scared that he scrambled to retreat. He's too tough, run. The Sword Saint didn't forget to call out to his companions. Qing Feng was using all her strength to deal with the Sword Saint. She had already made up her mind to kill him. She didn't want to be known as someone who failed to protect her master. Her incisive attacks made the Sword Saint suffer. Even though he had reached the 5th level of the Star Rune realm, he still felt that he couldn't take it. The Sword Saint who was fighting Qing Feng heard that his companions had retreated, and he couldn't defeat Qing Feng. so he could only run. They fought this battle in a very aggrieved manner. After they received the news about Yang Wu, they waited here in advance to intercept him. They understood the situation of the Yang Wu realm. At most, they could only send one saint to follow by his side. With two saints, killing Yang Wu would be as easy as flipping their palms. Unfortunately, they didn't take Old Man Zue into consideration. Qing Feng didn't chase after them. Her main task was to protect Yang Wu. She thought to herself, I need to be 120% alert. She had underestimated the allure of a bounty. With a saint making a move on Yang Wu, there was no way for him to hide it. Brat, hurry up and leave. It looks like you've become a piece of fatty meat. Now that you've been targeted by the bounty hunters, you'll be in a lot of trouble in the future. I'm afraid that a single middle-class saint demon won't be able to protect you. Old Man Zue said. Yang Wu removed the disguise on his face and asked, What are the bounty hunters? He had read many books about the transcendent realm, but he hadn't seen anything about the bounty hunters. These fellows are a loose cultivator alliance that hunts people on the bounty list for a living. Their organization is very loose, but once they accept a mission, they will band together and complete it together. They will share the rewards. In the past 10,000 years, there have been quite a few powerful bounty hunters. Even peak saints have been killed by them. Old Man Zue explained. Yang Wu revealed a worried expression. These fellows are that strong. Of course. Otherwise, why would your family head try to persuade you to stay? Old Man Zue nodded. He then said, Besides the bounty hunters, there are other assassination organizations. They aren't weak at all. Their tracking techniques are top-notch. If they want to kill someone, it won't be too difficult. Do you regret coming with me? Yang Wu shook his head and said, That's not the case. I just underestimated the other party's strength. I thought that they would send a semi-sage or an ordinary saint to kill me. Who would have thought that they would be so ruthless and send two such powerful guys? 10 saint pills and 3 saint weapons. With this kind of allure, even a high-level saint would be moved. Old Man Zue sighed. He was ready to take Yang Wu and continue on their journey. He took out a flying shuttle. It was the highest grade of flying battleship. It was like a disc. The body of the shuttle was as smooth as jade. It was flowing with the power of Saint Array. A light door opened. Old Man Zue took the lead and walked in. Yang Wu and Qing Feng walked in together. This was a small space inside the flying shuttle. It couldn't hold many people. It was a small flying shuttle. Old Man Zue, you are really rich. Yang Wu couldn't help but praise. If I was rich, I would have taken it out long ago. Why would I wait until now? Old Man Zue spread out his hands. He stroked the slot of the flying shuttle, and a saint stone fell into it. He then said, Using this thing once will consume a large amount of saint stones. This time, in order to escort you safely to the headquarters, I have spent a lot of saint stones. Kid, when you become rich in the future, remember to pay me back. Sure. Yang Wu immediately replied. Then he asked, Is this flying shuttle sold? Of course it's sold. As long as you can afford it, there's nothing you can't buy. Old Man Zue replied. Then he said, For example, this small flying shuttle of mine is about the value of 100 high-grade saint pills. Yang Wu's eyes almost popped out. He cried out involuntarily. So expensive. What do you think? All right, I won't talk to you anymore. Let's go. Old Man Zue said. He activated the power of the array, and the flying shuttle began to rapidly shuttle through space. The flying shuttle was expensive because it could directly travel through space. It was a Saint Artifact level battleship. Other than needing a Saint Artifact Master to forge it, it also needed a Saint Array Master to set up an array before it could be used. The materials needed to forge it were incomparably precious and difficult to find. The number of flying shuttles in the transcendent world was extremely limited. It was expensive and difficult to forge. When it was used, it would consume a large amount of saint stones. Unless one was rich, it would be difficult to raise it. Fortunately, Old Man Zue was a saint alchemist. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the financial resources to raise it. With the flying shuttle, Yang Wu and the others were much more relaxed. They didn't even need to use the space gate. They headed all the way to the south of the Kunlun Mountains. After a short period of praise, Yang Wu sat down cross-legged to cultivate. He didn't waste any more time. Under the pressure of being hunted by the Sage Realm, he was even more eager to take a step forward. After the evolution of the supreme 9 profound arts, it became even more extraordinary. An endless stream of heaven and earth profound qi continuously flowed into Yang Wu's dantian. The true dragon in his dantian began to open its mouth and devour the heaven and earth profound qi. The earth sea formed a boundless sea that could accommodate a lot of energy. The green bud growing in his dantian had already grown a lot. The few drops of sparkling and translucent immortal dew on the leaves were incomparably tempting. Yang Wu wanted to refine it several times, but he resisted in the end. This was the immortal dew that could help his great-grandmother come back to life. Its value was extraordinary, and he definitely couldn't use it easily. He would wait for a suitable opportunity to refine another drop and test out what kind of ability it had. Yang Wu's strength was steadily increasing. This kind of increase was extremely shocking for any dragon transformation realm martial artist. Even the profound arts of the big forces couldn't increase their strength so quickly. Old Zue glanced at Yang Wu from the side. He muttered in his heart, could it be that this brat obtained the inheritance of the Yang clan's ancestor? There aren't many people like him in the transcendent realm. If senior brother saw him, I don't know if he would appreciate this talent. That guy is a fighter among the alchemists, a big freak. After a pause, he added, this brat is a little freak. The silver-patterned tortoise lying on the ground finally woke up in a daze. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? The silver-patterned tortoise looked at this strange space and said blankly. Just as he finished speaking, Qing Feng shot out a green light that landed on his tortoise head. The tortoise was in so much pain that he instantly jumped up. He panicked and said, Lord Qing Feng, what are you doing? Since you're awake, lie down properly. If you dare touch the wine again, I'll cook you next time. Qing Feng said coldly. She was a bee saint, and she actually had to carry a small sky demon on her journey. She felt very embarrassed. If it wasn't for Yang Wu's request, she would have already steamed and eaten this sky demon. Drink wine? Yeah. How did I break through to the peak sky demon realm? Chapter 921. The silver-patterned tortoise had broken through 2 levels after drinking half of the wine. Moreover, its demonic body had become extremely powerful. It was confident that it could even fight against a minor demonic saint. Only then did it realize the value of the wine was too heaven-defying. It was a sacred wine that could build a saint body. It was already lucky that it didn't explode after drinking so much of it. The silver-patterned tortoise was extremely happy. However, it didn't dare to be too presumptuous in front of a saint realm expert. Especially with Qing Feng's looming saint demonic qi, it didn't dare to get carried away. It could only laugh secretly. The silver-patterned tortoise didn't let it down. After a short moment of excitement, it obediently lay down and cultivated its demonic arts. It continued to refine the medicinal wine's power in its body. The remaining power couldn't increase its cultivation level anymore, but it could continuously improve its physique. Especially after its shell was nourished by the medicinal power, even a minor demonic saint couldn't break it. Other than that, its bloodline power was also strengthened and activated. This half a bottle of wine was too useful for it. The silver-patterned tortoise's bloodline talent wasn't weak. This wine had a very good effect on activating it. If it didn't have a good foundation, it wouldn't have been able to gain so much from drinking this wine. Unknowingly, the flying shuttle appeared above a huge city. Cauldron City was a new top-notch city built by the Alchemist Alliance. It was located in the north and south of Sky Domain City. Sky Domain City was known as the alchemy capital. There were many medicinal herbs here, but there were even more medicinal pills. Hence, it was also known as the pill capital. More pills meant more alchemists. This city could be called the Holy Land of Alchemists. It was a mountain city that stood on the outskirts of the Kunlun Mountains. There were majestic buildings that rose steeply from the ground, as well as houses that were uniquely built. Pharmacists could be seen coming and going everywhere. They wore pharmacist robes with dazzling badges hanging on their necks, receiving envious gazes from left and right. In this place, Alchemists had the highest status. Many warriors relied on high-level alchemists. They all wanted to borrow the alchemist's ability to help them increase their cultivation and provide them with a large amount of pills for cultivation. Elixirs were an indispensable trade item in the transcendent world. Therefore, in Tripod City, all the major factions had set up strongholds here to facilitate the purchase of elixirs. Old Zue put away the flying shuttle and brought Yang Wu, Green Phoenix, and the silver-patterned tortoise to the center of the city, which occupied the largest area. That place was like a city within a city. It was surrounded by a huge castle and many residential buildings. This was the headquarters of the Alchemist Union. The Apothecary Alliance was a middleman faction in the transcendent world. They never participated in the fights between the major factions. They only recruited outstanding apothecaries from various worlds to join the alliance. They helped to improve the art of alchemy and provided the best platform for alchemy. Ever since the Apothecary Alliance was established, they had been growing stronger and stronger. They had also played a huge role in promoting the alchemy industry, nurturing many outstanding alchemists and creating a large number of pill recipes. They were truly extraordinary. All the major factions respected the Apothecary Alliance and would not offend them. If they offended them, they would be the ones to suffer. Once the Apothecary Alliance's elixirs were sealed, it would be a huge blow to any major faction. Not to mention, the other factions would gang up and attack them. Old Zue and Yang Wu arrived in front of the headquarters of the Apothecary Alliance. There were many people at the entrance looking around. They seemed to want to go in. If it weren't for the two huge lesser beast saints lying at the entrance, they would have definitely barged in. When these people saw Old Zue, they all bowed and said, "Greetings, Old Zue." Old Zue's alchemy skills were definitely not the best among all the saint alchemists. He wasn't even in the top 20 in the Apothecary Alliance. There were many people who were better than him. However, his status was higher than many saint alchemists because he had an arrogant senior brother. This senior brother was none other than the current leader of the Apothecary Alliance, Xiang Dingtian. Xiang Dingtian was definitely a legendary figure. Not many people knew where he came from. When he suddenly appeared in the Apothecary Alliance, the old leader was willing to give up his position and announce him as the new leader. At that time, many people were not convinced. However, when Xiang Dingtian displayed his heaven-defying alchemy skills, everyone was convinced. Old Zue was Xiang Dingtian's junior brother. Naturally, he was basking in Xiang Dingtian's glory. Not only did no one dare to bully him, but they also had to treat him well. Besides his alchemy skills, Xiang Dingtian's combat power was also insane. He was one of the top 10 giants in terms of combat power. It was because of him that no one dared to provoke the Apothecary Alliance. Those alchemists joined the Apothecary Alliance crazily and were willing to take up a position in the Apothecary Alliance to serve the Apothecary Alliance. Why are you all standing here? If you want to enter the headquarters, then do your best and become a lesser saint alchemist. Old Zue straightened his back and said. Those people all bowed and nodded in agreement. From time to time, they would say some flattering words. Some smart people even took out some good wine and gave it to Old Zue, making him feel like he was on cloud 9. Old Zue's status was not ordinary. He was the most popular person in the Tripod City. He was not arrogant and was willing to teach some young or frustrated alchemists. All right. You guys don't have to flatter me. The rules of the headquarters are there. I can't just take you guys in. Wait until you get a blue-gray jade badge. Old Zue emphasized again. Someone looked at Yang Wu, who was beside Old Zue, and asked, Old Zue, is this your disciple? Why does he look so unfamiliar? Old Zue smiled and said, if I had a disciple like him, then I would quit drinking. Then who is this? That person was surprised and continued to ask. You'll find out soon enough. Let's disperse. Old Man Zue responded and led Yang Wu and the others into the headquarters. The silver-patterned turtle followed behind Yang Wu. His gaze fell on the two giant spirit demons guarding the door. He had a trace of fear. They were not as scary as the blue phoenix and were much stronger than him. The giant spirit demons opened their fierce eyes. The silver-patterned turtle looked like he was facing a great enemy. He unconsciously released his demonic aura. You don't even recognize this lord? Are you looking for a beating? Old Zue glanced at the two giant spirit demons and said. The giant spirit demons quickly responded, "Greetings to the Lord. Welcome back." "In, that's more like it. Guard the door well." Old Zue responded with satisfaction. He took crab steps and walked inside. Yang Wu's eyes suddenly opened up. He could not help but exclaim, "What a majestic castle." In front of him was a giant castle. It was like a desolate beast. Standing in front of it, it seemed very small. It looked like a giant cauldron. There were cauldron handles on the left, right, and top. There was a large depression in the middle where a rainbow bridge crossed. The walls were carved with ancient cauldron patterns. There were also scenes of alchemy. It made people feel like they were inside an alchemy cauldron. It was truly amazing. There were quite a few people here. Most of them were wearing alchemist robes. There was a strong smell of medicine coming from them. They were all people that had been soaking in medicine for a long time. When these people saw Old Zue, they all bowed slightly to greet him. At the same time, they were curious about Yang Wu, the blue phoenix, and the silver-patterned turtle behind Old Zue. There were rules here that did not allow strangers to enter. Even alchemists that had not reached the level of Little Saint Alchemist were not allowed to enter. They could only enter if they had a special token from the Alchemist Alliance or if they were led by a sacred elder. Yang Wu and the others were clearly outsiders. Why did Old Zue bring them in? They did not ask, but there would be someone else who would ask for them. Sure enough, before Old Man Zue could lead Yang Wu into the castle, a group of people with ferocious auras walked towards them. They first saluted Old Man Zue, and then the leader asked, "Old Man Zue, who are they?" Although this group of people did not have the strength of the Star Rune realm, their status in the castle was not ordinary. They were the guards directly under the Alliance Master. They were all people that had been selected after many tests. They were also loyal subordinates that had been trained since young. Their duty was to protect the main altar and all the alchemists in Tripod City. They had the right to act first and report later. Old Zue did not reply to them. Instead, he looked at Yang Wu and said, "Brat, take out your badge and wear it. Otherwise, people might think that I am bending the law." Yang Wu hesitated for a moment. Then, he took out the bronze badge and wore it on his chest. The badge shone brightly and was extremely dazzling. When the guards saw the badge, they quickly bowed and greeted, "Greetings, Lord Saint Alchemist." Yang Wu was too young. However, no one dared to suspect that the badge he wore was fake. Old Zue also did not dare to use his status as the Alliance Master to do things that would ruin the Alliance. The Alliance's rules were strict. No matter how high one's authority was, they would not dare to easily violate them. The alchemists in the other directions all looked over. Their eyes were filled with shock. They clearly did not expect Old Zue to bring a young Saint Alchemist back. At this moment, a voice rang out, "Elder Zue, you have returned. Are you bringing Saint Alchemist Yang Wu with you?" Yang Wu looked in the direction of the voice. He saw an alchemist with a silver badge walking over. The other party had the appearance of a middle-aged man. His eyes were extremely small and were like lines. They were like the eyes of a poisonous snake, giving people a bad feeling. He was tall and sturdy and wore a black robe. His entire body seemed to be covered in black flames. Old Zue did not have a good impression of this person. He replied in a bad mood, "Since you already know, why are you still asking?" "Hee, I did not dare to ask. When did my Xing clan offend such an outstanding young talent? This should not have happened." The middle-aged man smiled. Then he looked at Yang Wu and introduced himself. "Saint Alchemist Yang Wu. I am Xing Yishang from the Battle Clan Realm Xing Clan. I am also a Saint Alchemist like you. However, my rank seems to be higher than yours. I am a high-level Saint Elder in the Alliance. Please take care of me in the future." Suddenly, Yang Wu felt a chill run down his spine. Chapter 922. The Xings practiced fire Xian Qi, and they were a fighting clan. They worshipped strength, but there were also a few who liked alchemy and crafting. Xing Yashang was one of those who liked alchemy, and he was quite talented. Under the Xing's nurturing, he became a high-level alchemist and received a silver-green badge. He was now a high-level alchemist in the Alchemist Alliance, and his status was very high. Yang Wu had become a Saint Alchemist and had caught the attention of the upper echelons of the Xing clan. Xing Yashang naturally paid attention to him. When he knew that Yang Wu would be brought to the Alchemist Union to be appointed as a Saint Elder, he had been waiting for Yang Wu's arrival. He wasn't there to welcome Yang Wu, but to demonstrate his power to Yang Wu. Yang Wu was a green copper level alchemist, and Xing Yashang was a green silver level alchemist. He was one level higher than Yang Wu, and his status was even higher. In the alchemist profession, any high-level alchemist had the right to look down on low-level alchemists. Xing Yashang, are you going to deal with Yang Wu? Don't forget the rules of the alliance. Old man Zue warned Xing Yashang. Old Zue, you're overthinking things. Why would I deal with him? I'm here to welcome him. After all, we're both holy elders. Xing Yashang smiled. He paused for a moment, then added, but there are rules in the alliance that allow us to challenge each other. If I challenge Yang Wu to alchemy, I'm not sure if he'll be willing to give me a chance. Xing Yashang kept smiling, but his smile wasn't friendly at all. Instead, it gave people the impression that he was a smiling tiger. He was a man who hid a knife behind his smile. Yang Wu hasn't been given the title of Holy Elder, so he's not bound by the alliance's rules. Don't bully him. Hurry up and do your thing. Don't be an eyesore here, Old man Zue said rudely. Xing Yashang replied, Old Zue, don't worry. I won't do anything to him. I'm just wondering if he cheated when he got the green copper badge. Everyone in the Yang clan mainly cultivates water xianqi, even if they do have fire xianqi cultivators. I've never heard of any outstanding alchemists. I'm still suspicious that Yang Wu is a holy alchemist at such a young age. Of course, I don't think Old Zue is purposely opening the back door for him. You just want him to verify it in front of us before he gets the title. You can't blame me, Old Zue. Xing Yashang's words. Old Zue's was doubting Old Zue's words. Doubting Elder's words. Old Zue's expression turned ugly. He felt that Xing Yashang wasn't giving him any face. Speaking of Yang Wu like that was a slap to his face. The alchemists nearby all listened carefully. They understood Xing Yashang's intentions. This guy was just looking for trouble. It seemed that this new alchemist wasn't on good terms with the Xing clan. Many alchemists began to consider whether or not they should get close to this young alchemist in the future. This time, Yang Wu couldn't take it anymore. He asked in a low voice, You want to compete with me in alchemy? Yang Wu, don't be impulsive. Old man Zhe stopped Yang Wu and said, Let's talk about this after the conferment ceremony. Old Zue, even a clay figurine has 3 fires. He's already rubbing his nose. How can I be indifferent? I'll listen to how this old man wants to bully the young. I'm not afraid. Yang Wu calmly faced the challenge. Old Zue, you heard it. Young people are always hot-tempered. You can't take a few words from your elders. This won't do. Let's wait until after your title ceremony. Otherwise, you'll say that I can't tolerate the younger generation. Xing Yashang said sarcastically. It was obvious that he was trying to provoke Yang Wu. Young people were easily impulsive and impulsive. You don't need to bully Yang Wu. He's under this old man's protection. Hurry up and go do your thing. Old Zue said coldly. Haha, since Old Zue said so, I'll give you face. I'll leave now. Xing Yashang didn't mind and laughed. He then said to Yang Wu, You're welcome to challenge me at any time. This is our Alchemist Alliance's favorite way to improve ourselves. Xing Yashang didn't wait for Yang Wu's response and left. His goal had been achieved. First, he showed Yang Wu who he was and let others think about the consequences of getting close to Yang Wu. His position in the Alchemist Alliance wasn't low. Yang Wu, you're still too young. Why are you arguing with him? Old Zue said to Yang Wu. Yang Wu smiled faintly and said, Old Zue, don't worry. I'm not afraid of an old dog like him. Old Zue shook his head and didn't say anything else. He brought Yang Wu to the alchemy hall. Even though he had already verified Yang Wu's identity as a saint alchemist, he still needed to confirm it in the alchemy hall. Only then could he convene the meeting and hold the ceremony. Aside from the Alliance Master, there were 3 Vice Alliance Masters. One of them was from the medicine sect, while the other 2 were divine alchemists. They had very high statuses. The Alchemist Alliance Master had to be presided over by one of the Vice Alliance Masters. The Vice Alliance Master, who usually presided over the Alchemist Alliance, was Miao Miao Chi. He was a divine alchemist from the Miao tribe. He was very old and had the most seniority in the Alchemist Alliance. He had a very old-fashioned personality and didn't care about others' feelings. He did everything according to the rules. It was because of his existence that the Alchemist Alliance's rules could be carried out so well. Yang Wu followed old Zue to the alchemy hall. The smell of medicine was very strong here. Broken pill furnaces could be seen everywhere. They weren't left behind. Instead, they were displayed here. The previous owner of each of these furnaces was an incredible figure. At the very least, they were top-tier saint alchemists. They were displayed here to encourage all the alchemists who came here to learn from them. The first furnace is the colored glass sacred furnace that the Alliance Master destroyed when he was still a saint alchemist. The second furnace is the Earth Star sacred furnace that was destroyed by divine lightning when the old Alliance Master was refining a divine pill. Old Zue's eyes were burning as he introduced the furnaces to Yang Wu. After hearing this, Yang Wu was speechless. So the broken furnaces here were all saint artifacts. Even such high-grade furnaces were destroyed. It was clear how powerful the alchemy skills of these masters were. Yang Wu realized that even though he had entered the ranks of saint alchemists, he still wasn't too proud. There were still many powerful existences in front of him. He couldn't stop here. Old Zue, are you bringing a newcomer here to verify his identity? A middle-aged man walked over and asked old Zue respectfully. Yang Wu looked at the middle-aged man and saw that he was wearing a golden blue badge. He was a top-tier little saint alchemist. The middle-aged man also looked at the badge on Yang Wu's chest, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. He asked, This is Lord Saint Alchemist? That's right. His name is Yang Wu. He is a newly promoted saint alchemist. I brought him here to verify his identity and recommend him to join the Alliance as a saint elder. Old Zue said straightforwardly. Then old Zue recorded everything that happened in Bewitching City to the middle-aged man. Yang Wu also cooperated. Finally, old Zue took out a crystal and handed it to the middle-aged man. This was an image recording crystal. It was very rare and could record some scenes. This image recording crystal recorded the scene of Yang Wu refining the saint alchemist. The middle-aged man no longer doubted that Yang Wu was a saint alchemist. He couldn't help but marvel at Yang Wu's talent. After the middle-aged man registered Yang Wu, he only needed to wait for the ceremony to begin and he would become a saint elder of the Alchemist Alliance. Old Zue brought Yang Wu out of the alchemy hall and brought him to a courtyard. This courtyard was his private residence. A servant came up and respectfully welcomed them. Yang Wu discovered that these servants were all beautiful young women. There were a total of 9 of them, and they all wore little saint alchemist badges. Yang Wu immediately looked at them in a new light. At the same time, he cursed in his heart, What a shameless old man. Old Zue felt Yang Wu's disdainful gaze and couldn't help but spread out his hands. Don't look at me like that. They were all convinced by my alchemy skills and are willing to follow me. I didn't force them. The 9 young women all smiled beautifully. One of them said, Old Zue is right. We are willing to serve him. He is so handsome when he is refining pills. Wow, you're a saint alchemist of Bronze Green City, and you're so young. Could it be that you are an old monster with a youthful appearance? One of the young women looked at Yang Wu in surprise. TSK. It seems that such a young saint alchemist is rare. The successor of our ally is only SOSO. Hurry up and refine a cauldron of pills for us to see. If you are as handsome as old Zue, we are willing to warm your bed. That's right. Little brother, show us a few tricks. These young women were all extremely bold and unrestrained, causing Yang Wu to be extremely embarrassed. Old Zue said indifferently, Yang Wu, don't worry about me. I'm not interested in them. I only let them stay here so that they can brew wine for me. If you like them, I don't mind letting them warm your bed tonight. The premise is that you can make them do it willingly. Yang Wu quickly said, I am not a casual person. Yang Wu's words angered everyone, and the 9 young women said in unison, We are not casual people either. In the next moment, they surrounded Yang Wu and began to touch Yang Wu's body, constantly provoking Yang Wu's most primitive emotions. Aya, Little brother's skin is so smooth. It feels so comfortable to touch. Look at how beautiful his palm is. No wonder he can refine a holy pill. He's a natural alchemist. If he could touch me, I would be very happy. What strong muscles. His fighting strength is also very strong. I just don't know if he is as strong on the bed. Little brother, show us your skills. We are really not casual people. We won't eat you. Yangwu felt as if he had arrived at the territory of the spider demons. Being entangled by them, he felt as if he was a fish on a chopping board. He wanted to struggle, but all he touched were soft and soft parts. Instantly, his nose started to bleed. Don't force me to be casual. Chapter 923. Yangwu didn't even have time to relax before the chattering young women all retreated like a receding tide. Yangwu was instantly dumbfounded. Weren't they supposed to show off their battle prowess in bed and see his powerful muscles? How could they just leave like that? Who would help him wipe his nosebleed? Was there any justice in this world? It's good to be young. You even have a nosebleed. Old Zue sighed softly. He couldn't even get a nosebleed if he wanted to, which was even more tragic. These young women all looked slutty and were willing to be taken advantage of, but when it came to doing something, they were even more unyielding than a woman. Old Zue had a deep understanding of this. Old Zue arranged a room for Yang Wu to rest in and ordered some people to bring some good wine and dishes, preparing to have a drink with Yang Wu. As they drank, there were two young women in alluring clothes on each side of them. Anyone who saw this scene would feel that they had good luck with women, but for a hot-blooded young man like Yang Wu, it was truly a torment. He could only look but not eat, so what was the point of life? Old Zue was happy as he drank, and he continued to talk about the rules and situations of the medicine union. Yang Wu committed all of this to memory. Yang Wu rested in Old Zue's room for the night, and the next day, a young woman named Vivian took him a tour of the medicine union headquarters. Vivian was a tall and beautiful woman with a voluptuous figure. When she walked, she was like a water snake, twisting her sexy waist and buttocks. She was very seductive, and her words were graceful and moving, making it easy for others to feel close to her. Last night, after Yang Wu had suffered a loss, he began to restrain his thoughts and ignore any temptations from the other party. He only paid attention to the places that Vivian introduced to him. For example, the Alchemy Plaza, where little saint alchemists or holy elders would usually concoct pills and discuss alchemy. For example, the Herb Hall, where all kinds of medicinal herbs were gathered, and as long as one contributed enough to the medicine union, they could exchange for the herbs they needed. For example, the Alchemy Pavilion, where all kinds of pill recipes were collected, and there were also pill recipes prepared by the medicine union. Every place was guarded by a powerful martial artist, and not just anyone could walk around freely. Among so many places, apart from the Alchemy Plaza, the Alchemy Pavilion was the most lively place. Many alchemists walked in and out of this place in order to learn and record more pill recipes. The alchemists who could enter the main altar had basically reached the level of little saint alchemist. There were a small number of heaven-rank alchemists, or the disciples of those holy elders in the main altar. The number was not small. The Pill Formulae Pavilion had a total of 5 floors. Each floor contained an extremely large number of pill formulae, and the higher one went, the more precious they were. Aside from the first floor being open to ordinary alchemists, the other floors required corresponding conditions to be able to enter. Yang Wu had not been conferred the position of Holy Elder yet. He was only a holy alchemist and could enter the first and second floor. After being conferred the title of Holy Elder, he could enter the third floor. As for the fourth and fifth floor, he would need to make a corresponding contribution before he was qualified. Yang Wu walked into the Dan Formula Pavilion to take a look. When everyone saw the badge he hung, they all bowed and greeted him, Lord Saint Alchemist. They already knew that Yang Wu was a saint alchemist brought back by Old Man Zue, and that he was not on good terms with the Xing clan. No one purposely tried to curry favor with Yang Wu, nor did they alienate him. Every alchemist had their own personality and would not be easily affected by external matters. Yang Wu nodded in response, and then looked at the pill formulae here. There were tens of thousands of pill recipe scrolls here, and each scroll was placed on a shelf. The name and grade of the pill recipe were pasted on the front of scrolls. There were pill recipes of the lowest grade recorded here, and there were also pill recipes that had reached the heaven grade. Each pill recipe had a different use. Yang Wu had little Hei's inheritance, and he also had a large number of pill formulae. However, when he saw the number of pill formulae in front of him, he was still shocked. Vivian said softly, "This place has been accumulating for tens of thousands of years, and there are many pill formulae. Don't look down on some low-grade pill formulae, but sometimes their uses are comparable to high-grade pill formulae." Yang Wu thought deeply and said, "It doesn't matter if the pill formulae are expensive or low-grade. As long as they can help people, they are good pill formulae." Lord Yang Wu is indeed wise, Vivian praised, and then said, "If anyone can provide a pill formula that is different from the ones here, they will be rewarded handsomely by the Alliance. They can directly exchange it for a pill formula, high-grade pills, or even some soul cultivation techniques." Yang Wu remembered Vivian's words, and then began to look through the pill formulae here. As an alchemist, no one would complain about having too many pill formulae. He had little Hei's pill formulae, but he lacked something that belonged to him. If he could make his own pill formulae, perhaps he would be able to take a higher step on the path of alchemy. Yang Wu had a battle soul, and his memory was astonishing. His eidetic memory was displayed, and he quickly flipped through the pill formulae, memorizing them one by one. Some of the pill formulae here were not ones that he had seen before, and they had various uses, which was an eye-opener for him. However, some of the pill formulae clearly had loopholes or flaws, and were not perfect. Yang Wu did not spend time correcting these loopholes or flaws, and only focused on memorizing more pill formulae. As long as it was a pill formula that he did not have, he would look through it. Vivian, who was following beside him, was puzzled by Yang Wu's actions. Yang Wu was already a saint alchemist, so why was he looking at such low-grade pill formulae? Shouldn't he go directly to the second floor to look at the higher-grade pill formulae? Was he just putting on a show? Vivian followed Yang Wu for an hour and finally understood that Yang Wu was not playing around, but was seriously looking at the pill formulae. She immediately had a whole new level of respect for Yang Wu. No wonder you can become a saint alchemist at such a young age. Only a truly diligent alchemist will be able to memorize these pill formulae one by one. Yang Wu was not stupid enough to record every pill formula. He only looked at the ones that he had never seen before, or those that had strange effects, or those that he found interesting. Yang Wu looked at the formulae for 4 hours, and then remembered that there was a young woman beside him. He quickly said to her, "You can go back. I might not leave this place for a while. If there is anything, you can come and inform me." "Do you want to stay here?" Vivian asked in surprise. "It's rare for me to come here, so of course I have to take a good look." Yang Wu nodded. "Ah, all right, then take your time to look." Vivian did not dare to ask any more questions. She responded and turned to leave. Although there were many pill formulae, each one was not easy to memorize. If one looked at them too much, they would feel bored and uncomfortable. Not many people could look at pill formulae for a long time. Vivian felt that after a day, Yang Wu would definitely not want to come here again. Who would have thought that Yang Wu would soak for 7 days, reaching a realm where he would forget to eat and sleep? In 7 days, he had memorized thousands of pill formulae, and the petals of his divine court Tao flower that were imprinted with the Tao of alchemy had grown stronger. The Tao of alchemy not only required alchemy techniques, but also required pill formulae as nourishment in order to be more condensed. Yang Wu could not help but sigh at the ingenuity of many alchemists. Some pill formulae only needed a few herbs to concoct extraordinary medicinal liquids, while some pill formulae used many poisons to combine together and could actually form non-poisonous pills. These were all things that he had not thought about in the past. After seeing so many pill formulae, he felt that he still needed to study the path of alchemy carefully before he could go further. Many people in the pill formulae pavilion noticed Yang Wu's existence. He had stayed here for 7 days, and these alchemists were very impressed. They could also stay here for 7 days, but they definitely could not memorize so many pill formulae like Yang Wu. Yang Wu had completely forgotten about the time. He walked towards the second floor and continued to look for suitable pill formulae. The second floor contained pill formulae that were king level and above. The highest level was minor saint level pill formulae. There were no saint level pill formulae here. The number of alchemists on this floor had obviously decreased. Not everyone could casually flip through the formulae here. Yang Wu did not care about others and continued to focus on looking at the pill formulae. Before the conferring ceremony, he would remember as much as he could. Another 3 days passed, and Yang Wu's name was completely spread out. The new Saint Alchemist Yang Wu is very strange. He stayed on the first and second floor of the Pill Formulae Pavilion for 10 days. Why is a dignified Saint Alchemist interested in low-level pill formulae? He is really an incredible person. Every pill formula is cryptic and difficult to understand. Looking at it for a long time will make people want to vomit. How can he persist for so long? He is a Saint Alchemist. How can we compare to him? Senior sister stayed in the Pill Formulae Pavilion for half a year. That is really abnormal. I heard that he is the youngest Saint Alchemist since the establishment of the Alliance. He is only 23 years old. He is even younger than senior sister. This must be fake. Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, he would not be able to reach such a level. I heard that Saint Elder Xing Yishang is very dissatisfied with this Saint Alchemist. Yang Wu did not care about what was happening outside. He memorized many pill formulae one by one. Unknowingly, a strange phenomenon formed his mind. His battle soul was meditating to refine the pills of each pill formula. Every time he looked at a pill formula, his battle soul would refine that pill. His understanding of the alchemy Tao would improve. Suddenly, the pill formulae in the Pill Formulae Pavilion moved by themselves. The words of the pill formulae turned into specks of light and gathered towards Yang Wu's divine courtyard. The pill formulae chose their master, and the Tao fruit was formed. This was a shocking phenomenon. Everyone in the Pill Formulae Pavilion was completely stunned. They all looked towards where the light was gathering. Yang Wu was surrounded by the light of words. He was like an alchemy immortal. Countless words turned into medicinal herbs and fell into his divine courtyard Tao flower. He looked so transcendent and divine. Is this the legendary phenomenon of great success in the alchemy Tao? Pill formulae have spirits. They have taken Yang Wu as their master and are willing to become a part of him. This is incredible. A great fortune, a true great fortune. Is he a natural-born alchemy god's son? I kneel. I am willing to become Yang Wu's servant. Chapter 924. In a quiet room in the Apothecary Union's castle, one could see everything in the castle clearly. There was a wooden old man with a small braid. His forehead was shiny, and his eyes were like a hawk's. He was extremely intimidating. He wore a simple vest, revealing his dark muscles. Every single one of them was as hard as iron. It seemed that even saint weapons would not be able to move them in the slightest. This was a strong old man. The old man's eagle eyes looked through the window and landed on the alchemy pavilion in the distance. His eyes lit up as he murmured, "Alchemy has become a spirit, and the alchemy pavilion chooses its master. The new kid is quite talented." The old man, who was still in a drunken stupor, suddenly jumped out of bed and shot toward the alchemy pavilion like a bolt of lightning. He didn't look drunk at all. Soon, he appeared in front of the alchemy pavilion. He stared at the words with envy. Does this kid want people to live? Many people from other directions also noticed the commotion here and quickly rushed over. Suddenly, a voice rang out in the sky. Don't disturb him. When this voice fell into everyone's ears, they didn't dare to move in an instant. Everyone in the alchemy pavilion was quickly moved out by a mighty force. Only Yang Wu was still in the state of deepening his understanding of alchemy. It was as if he was isolated from the outside world. One pill formula after another entered his mind, and his battle soul completed the refinement again and again. He was in a mysterious and wonderful state. Time continued to pass, but he was not aware of it at all. He was rapidly comprehending every pill refining method recorded in the pill formulas. Furthermore, he was able to identify the loopholes and quickly make up for them. The contents of the pill formulas were also quietly changing. Every single one of them was becoming incomparably perfect. This had a lot to do with the massive amount of pill formulas that Xiao He had passed on to him. By verifying the two pill formulas with each other, he could quickly understand the pros and cons of each. As Yang Wu comprehended alchemy, the divine court Dao flower was also nourished and strengthened. The petal imprinted with alchemy shone brighter and brighter. It was improving towards greater success. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. The words in the alchemy pavilion gradually dimmed. In these 2 months, no one could get close to the alchemy pavilion. It became one of the forbidden areas of the main altar. Old Zue also guarded the alchemy pavilion for 2 months. At first, he was still paying attention to the situation in the alchemy pavilion. Later, he simply drank by himself and fell asleep. When he woke up, he would look at the alchemy pavilion again. It was really boring. The alchemists in the main altar were already in a heated discussion about the strange phenomenon. They knew Yang Wu's situation very well. It was hard to believe that a 23-year-old young man could cause such a huge commotion. The alchemy. When Xing Yashang found out that the commotion in the pill recipe pavilion was caused by Yang Wu, his expression was unsightly for a few days. Later on, no one knew what kind of conspiracy he thought of, but he no longer had that cold expression. Instead, he looked forward to Yang Wu's appearance. When the alchemy pavilion's light disappeared, many people quickly surrounded the alchemy pavilion. They all wanted to see how young the alchemist who caused such commotion was and what he looked like. A youth walked out of the alchemy pavilion. He looked at the people around him blankly and said, why are you looking at me like that? Did I become more handsome? Old Zue was the first to pounce. Yang Wu couldn't react in time and had his shoulders pinched. Yang Wu resisted and said, Old Zue, what are you doing? Don't think of molesting me. I'd rather die than obey. Good boy. How did you do the alchemy selection? Tell me. Old Zue said with red eyes. Old Zue had been refining pills for many years. Even if he condensed alchemy, he had never encountered such a good opportunity as Yang Wu. Not only him, but none of the alchemists here could do such a shocking thing. Perhaps only the Alliance head had such ability. He's Yang Wu. He's so young. He looks like he's only 18 years old. It's really hard to believe. He's really handsome. He's just a bit less handsome than the Alliance head. He's so likable. How did he manage to make the pill formulas choose their owners? Can he pass on some of his experiences to us? Did he use some trick to trick us? He doesn't look like a saint alchemist at all. The surrounding alchemists looked at Yang Wu with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Most of them were still in a state of shock. They would remember Yang Wu's name today. Yang Wu shook off Old Zue and said, Old Zue, what kind of scandal is this in front of so many people? I only looked at the alchemy recipe. I didn't do anything that broke the rules. Yang Wu didn't know what happened in the outside world. He thought that only 1 or 2 days had passed. Looking at the alchemy recipe caused such a big commotion. You're a heaven-defying monster. What commotion? I was just curious about the alchemy recipe and looked at it for a few days. What kind of reaction is this? It's like I owe you something. Brat, don't tell me you don't know that you've been in the alchemy pavilion for 2 months. Yang Wu was really stunned. He really didn't know that so much time had passed. Wouldn't the green phoenix and silver patterned tortoise be worried sick? Time flows like water. It's normal that you don't know. Saint Alchemist Yang Wu really has a good temperament and good luck. An old Saint Alchemist couldn't help but praise. You are? Yang Wu looked at that person and asked. This old man is Yu Yingguang. You can call me Old Yu. That Saint Alchemist said. He wore a badge on his chest that was the same rank as Yang Wu. Yang Wu cupped his hands and said, Hello, Old Yu. Good, good. If there's a chance, let's discuss alchemy together. Yu Yingguang smiled. I like this. If it's possible, let's spar. Another Saint Alchemist provoked Yang Wu. Amen. Let's talk about it when I have time. Yang Wu replied. He turned to Old Zue and said, Old Zue, I'll go back first to check on Sister Foam and Little Silver. Don't worry, they're all fine. Old Zue replied. In the next moment, he pulled Yang Wu's hand and prepared to leave this place. He even mumbled, Later, tell me secretly how you managed to make the alchemy recipe choose its owner. When the other alchemists heard Old Zue's words, envy flashed in their eyes. They also wanted to know the answer. However, before Old Zue could bring Yang Wu away, a voice rang out. bring Yang Wu to the main hall and prepare for the conferring ceremony." This voice was filled with authority. Everyone in the main altar heard it clearly. They quickly returned to their positions and began to prepare for the conferring ceremony. "Old Miao has spoken. You won't run away from the position of Saint Elder." Old Zue was happy for Yang Wu. "Who is Old Miao?" Yang Wu asked. "Deputy Alliance Leader Miao Biaoqi," Old Zue replied. Yang Wu was shocked. He had read about the legendary saint alchemist of the Miao tribe in some books. He was an old monster on the level of a living fossil. Old Zue didn't immediately bring Yang Wu to the main hall of the castle. Instead, he brought him back to the courtyard to bathe and change his clothes. This was a grand occasion. It was a pity that the Yang family didn't send anyone to observe the ceremony. The conferring ceremony of the Saint Elder of the Apothecary Alliance was extremely grand. Only those who had become Saint Alchemists had the right to attend. It was hosted by a Deputy Alliance Leader. There were at least 9 Saint Alchemists and 100 Little Saint Alchemists present as witnesses. They would give Yang Wu the Saint Elder token and a Saint-level item. Yang Wu changed into a new set of clothes under Vivian's care. His entire face was glowing. He was handsome and had an outstanding temperament. He was like an immortal that had descended to the mortal world. Vivian couldn't help but touch Yang Wu's face. Her charming face blushed. She whispered, "I can sleep with you tonight." After speaking, she flew out of Yang Wu's room. Yang Wu touched his face and muttered to himself, if the beautiful commander was here, she would definitely say, being handsome is also a sin. Yang Wu walked out of the door and saw Qing Feng and the silver-patterned turtle standing outside. Qing Feng was always wearing a green feather dress that wrapped around her beautiful body. Her phoenix eyes flowed with a moving light. When she looked at Yang Wu, he felt a bit uncomfortable. He laughed dryly and said, "Sister Feng, don't look at me like that. I'll be shy." Qing Feng smiled faintly and said, "You'll be shy? Did you want to eat that young woman just now?" Yang Wu waved his hand and said, "Of course not. I'm a true gentleman." He then looked at the silver-patterned turtle and said, "Is it little silver?" The silver-patterned turtle hurriedly shook its head. After being glared at by Yang Wu, it quickly nodded and said, "Yes, yes. Master isn't a pervert. You're the pervert turtle. Scram." Yang Wu angrily cursed and kicked the silver-patterned turtle away. Suddenly, Qing Feng walked to Yang Wu's side and grabbed his arm and said, "Let's go." The Yang Wu can't be looked down upon by others. Her full and soft buttocks pressed against Yang Wu's arm. For a moment, he couldn't come back to his senses. Qing Feng had always been incomparably calm and cold. She gave him a feeling that she didn't want anyone to get close to her. Moreover, he had suffered at her hands before, so he always kept a distance from her. Now that she was acting strangely, he really didn't know what she was thinking. "Don't think too much. I just don't want you to lose face for the Yang clan," Qing Feng said indifferently as she looked to the side. I'm not thinking too much," Yang Wu stupidly replied and walked out with Qing Feng step by step. The man was handsome and the woman was charming. It was as if they were a match made in heaven. The silver-patterned turtle crawled up from not far away and followed behind them. He looked at the 2 figures in front of him and praised, a dragon and a phoenix pair. Suddenly, the drunk old man descended from the sky and sat on the silver-patterned turtle. He nodded and said, "That's right. I'll reward you greatly." Who said spirit beasts couldn't be together with humans? Chapter 925. Medicine Union Castle, Main Hall. This place was resplendent and majestic. 9 dragon pillars stood tall, and the dragon patterns on the pillars were vivid and lifelike, as if they could come to life at any time. The might of the dragon was abundant. The ceiling of the main hall was inlaid with 9 saint pearls that were like stars. The power of the stars was vast and mighty, and dense profound qi pervaded every corner. In the center of the main hall, there were 3 emperor jade dragon chairs, and the noble aura was unmistakable. These 3 seats were where the 3 vice alliance masters sat. Behind these 3 seats, there was a luxurious soft couch with dragons and phoenixes carved on it. The noble aura of the supreme seat was even greater than that of the 3 vice alliance masters. That was the supreme seat of the alliance master. Below the hall, there were 2 rows of jade chairs. Each chair was a true saint item, and only the Saint Elder could sit on them. Other than these jade chairs, there were no other seats. Those who were not Saint Alchemists could only stand here. The Saint Elder conferring ceremony was held here. The deputy leader, Miao Miao Chi, sat in the middle of the three deputy leaders. He supported his resolute face with one hand, and his old eyes were closed like a sleeping dragon. No one dared to disturb him. The Saint Elders who came in gradually didn't even dare to breathe loudly. They carefully sat in their corresponding seats. The other Saint Alchemists who could enter even bowed and stayed in place humbly. They were afraid that they would accidentally make a sound and disturb the person sitting on the main seat. This kind of scene, this kind of atmosphere, really made people feel uncomfortable. Yang Wu was still on his way. Qing Feng held his hand and followed old Zue into the hall. Along the way, many people gathered and looked at Yang Wu with respect and adoration. Every single holy elder was extremely noble, and it was the goal they pursued their entire lives. There were many female alchemists here, and they were all different in terms of beauty. When they saw Yang Wu, they all became infatuated. Wow, is Yang Wu the Saint Alchemist? He's so handsome and so young. I'm infatuated. That's right. His temperament is really good. He's not at all like the other alchemists. He's really too good-looking. I heard that he's only in his early 20s. I'm older than him by a whole 200 years. If I were to marry him, wouldn't I be called an old cow eating young grass? Outstanding talent and handsome. Who wouldn't love such a young man? Even sleeping with him for a night would be worth it. After being conferred the title today, he will surpass eldest senior sister and become the youngest Saint Alchemist in the history of the Alliance. I'm afraid that no one will be able to surpass his record in the future. The demoness beside him is so annoying. Why is she holding on to my Prince Charming's arm? The Apothecary Alliance accommodated all the apothecaries in the world, regardless of whether they were male or female. As long as they had the talent for alchemy, they could apply. Here, 2/3 of the alchemists were male and 1/3 of the alchemists were female. It wasn't all men's world. They liked alchemists who were more outstanding than them in the field of alchemy. Like Yang Wu, who was so outstanding in alchemy and so handsome, which female alchemists could resist his temptation. Yang Wu looked at their burning gazes and felt that they were like a pack of hungry wolves. They wanted nothing more than to pounce on him and eat him alive. Now you know why I'm holding on to you. I'm afraid that you'll be mesmerized by them and forget about home. I'm not interested in you. Qing Feng transmitted to Yang Wu. Yang Wu agreed. Big Sister Feng is right. I feel that they're too savage. After pausing for a moment, he added, but I believe that my willpower can deal with them. In the next moment, his waist was twisted into a fried dough twist. The pain made him grimace. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Yang Wu finally arrived in front of the main hall under the guidance of Old Drunkard. There were 2 rows of mighty guards standing in front of the main hall. They all wore shining armor and held spears in their hands. They all had the aura of the dragon transformation realm and were full of battle intent. With these 108 guards, if they worked together, they could definitely slaughter a star-ruined saint. Yang Wu couldn't help but sigh at the strength of the Apothecary Alliance in front of such a welcoming team. If he was a little more cowardly, he might not be able to walk through the line. He raised his tall and straight waist, like a true dragon appearing in the world, and walked towards the main hall with his head held high. From today onwards, I, Yang Wu, will sweep through the transcendent realm. Little He, Shou Ho, if you hear my name, you'll definitely be happy for me, right? Yang Wu thought to himself proudly. At this moment, Little He and Shou Ho became the people he missed the most. Without Little He, he wouldn't be who he was today. Without Shou Ho, he wouldn't have been able to rise up in the prison field. He wanted to share his joy with them. Of course, there's also his wife, Yu Yu, and his brother, Yang Wen. Unknowingly, he stepped into the main hall that was like a small space. Many gazes looked at him at the same time. Some were surprised, some were envious, and some were jealous. Yang Wu ignored all of this and walked towards the center with the drunk old man. The drunk old man was no longer drunk. He said loudly, Vice Alliance Leader Miao, the new Saint Apothecary, Yang Wu, is here. After saying this, he consciously stepped aside and let Yang Wu face Miao Miaochi. Yang Wu glanced at Miao Miaochi. He felt that the other party was like a black furnace. His aura was too shocking. He couldn't see what the other party looked like at all. He hurriedly bowed and said, "Greetings, Vice Alliance leader." Meow Meowchi's status was too high. He was able to sit on the same level as the top few people in the transcendent realm. Yang Wu couldn't help but respect him. Meow Meowchi opened his eyes. Two rays of light that were like the sun landed on Yang Wu's body. It was as if he could see through all of Yang Wu's secrets at this moment. Yang Wu, 23 years old, from the Battle Race's Yang family. Bronze Green Class Saint Apothecary. Elder Zue has recommended him to become a Saint Elder. The Alchemy Hall has already confirmed his rank. Do Saint Elders agree? Meow Meowchi's voice faintly rang out. There were a total of 33 Saint Apothecaries present. The number was shocking. Even a first-rate faction might not have a single Saint Apothecary present. 33 of them had come all of a sudden, as expected of the Transcendent Realms Alchemist Alliance. Most of the Saint Apothecaries present replied, "Agreed." Immediately after, a different voice rang out, "I don't agree." This voice was extremely clear. It was like an oriole singing in the morning. The sound lingered in the air and was very pleasant to listen to. Everyone's gaze shifted to the last row, only to see a peerless beauty standing out in front of everyone. She was very tall, even taller than the average man. Even if Yang Wu stood in front of her, she would not be shorter than him. Her hair was tied up, and there were bangs that fell down, covering a part of her bright forehead. Her beautiful face, without a trace of makeup, was like a pebble that had been polished countless times. It was tender, smooth, and rosy. The towering area in front of her chest was also outstanding, and there was a kind of boldness that made it seem like she was looking down on all mountains. Half of her slender legs were exposed, and they were as white and tender as ivory. Her sparkling jade skin exuded a water-like charm. No matter where she sat, as long as she stood up, she would be like an empress looking down on all living things. Everyone would have to lower their arrogant heads in front of her. When Yang Wu saw this woman for the first time, he immediately felt her innate charm that could turn all living things upside down, as well as a spirit that looked down on all things. This kind of spirit that was born in a woman was definitely extremely rare. Consort G, why don't you agree? The cold meow meow strangely revealed a trace of a faint smile as she asked. This woman was the #1 beauty of the Apothecary Union. She was also the #1 Wonder Woman, Chao Ji Fei. She was also the youngest Saint Apothecary before Yang Wu appeared. She was not even 100 years old, but she had become a Saint Apothecary. Many young Saint Apothecaries could not raise their heads. These young Saint Apothecaries were all very talented, and they would be nurtured with all their strength in any faction. Unfortunately, they did not have the slightest bit of confidence in front of her. Only the peerless Saint Apothecaries of the previous generation dared to stand in front of her. Her position in the Apothecary Union was also not to be underestimated. She was the youngest disciple of the current Union Master, and she was also called the last disciple by Xiang Dingtian. This meant that he could not accept another outstanding disciple like Chao Jifei, so he did not plan to accept another disciple. Chao Jifei was born with the fate of an empress, but she was born in an ordinary family. After she was born, she cursed the death of her entire family and was once considered a jinx. It was not until she was discovered by Xiang Dingtian and taken in as a disciple that she revealed her powerful fate. Among her peers, whether it was in alchemy or martial arts, she showed off her strength in alchemy and martial arts. She was able to suppress all the other Saint Apothecaries of the same generation. Xiang Dingtian once said, "This woman will be able to take over my position." With this sentence, the next Union Master of the Apothecary Union was basically dead in the coffin. There were already people privately calling her Young Union Master, but she preferred people to call her eldest senior sister. She was the last of Xiang Dingtian's 9 disciples. Being called Little Junior Sister by her senior brothers and sisters made her very unhappy. Therefore, she wanted everyone to call her eldest senior sister. Chao Jifei met Meow Meowchi's gaze and replied, "Vice Union Master Meow, I doubt his ability as a Saint Apothecary, so I do not agree to let him become the Holy Elder unless he can prove that he is worthy of the Bronze Green Badge." After a pause, she looked at Elder Zue and said, Martial Uncle Zue, I am not doubting your judgment. I am just afraid that you will be tricked if you drink too much. Chao Jifei's voice was very pleasant to the ears, but it carried an aura of power. Facing Miao Miaoqi and Elder Zue, she was not afraid at all. Yang Wu could not help but look at this woman in a new light. However, he did not understand why she was against him. Could it be that she was doubting his ability based on her inner doubts? Holy Elder Ji Fei is right. Even if this person is a saint apothecary, his age is questionable. I suspect that he is deliberately hiding his true age to deceive the Union. I suggest that we investigate this matter thoroughly. We cannot make a rash decision. Xing Yashang stood out and objected at the right time. At the same time, 3 other saint apothecaries also voiced their doubts. The situation changed instantly. Chapter 926. It was rare for a holy elder to make a mistake. A top-level holy elder would personally verify and issue the badge. After the alchemy hall confirmed it, the appointment would usually go smoothly. Old man Zue thought that Xing Yishang would step out to stop it, but with his prestige in the alliance, he didn't have the ability to interfere. He never thought that Chao Jifei would step out to question him and Yang Wu, giving Xing Yishang a chance to make trouble. He was sure that Chao Jifei's involvement in this matter was definitely due to Xing Yishang fanning the flames. Otherwise, Chao Jifei wouldn't have raised such a question. Chao Jifei was an extremely magnanimous woman. Old man Zue knew this. Jifei, are you suspecting that Martial Uncle's eyes are blurred? It seems that Martial Uncle has doted on you for nothing, Old man Zue said with heartache. Martial Uncle Zue, true gold fears no fire. It's not difficult to make him a holy elder. Just have him refine a furnace of holy pills for us. This request isn't too difficult, right? Chao Jifei suggested. That's not difficult, but if you do that, where will Martial Uncle's face go? Old man Zue said with a trace of dissatisfaction. Being able to verify whether or not he's a holy alchemist is more important than Martial Uncle's face. If he really is a holy alchemist, I'll personally apologize to Martial Uncle. If not, then we'll deal with him according to the Alliance's rules. Chao Jifei said firmly. She showed off her elegance as an empress. Even old man Zue couldn't do anything about it. The other holy elders all knew that Chao Jifei meant what she said and couldn't help but give her a thumbs up. Holy Elder Jifei is right. True gold fears no fire. Vice Alliance Master, please make the decision, Xing Yishang said again. Miao Miaoqi looked at old man Zue and asked, what do you think? Don't ask me. If you want to ask Yang Wu. I recommended him. I've personally seen him refine many furnaces of holy pills. This is definitely not fake. If you want him to refine a furnace for you, I can't make the decision, old man Zue said shamelessly. He had some understanding of Yang Wu's character. He was definitely not a guy who would be easily manipulated. Let's see how he would resolve this himself. When Miao Miaoqi looked at Yang Wu said calmly, Can I not be the holy elder? All of a sudden, everyone was stunned. The position of sacred elder was extremely rare in the Apothecary Alliance. Not just any sacred apothecary would have such qualifications. Only sacred apothecaries with outstanding alchemy abilities or sacred apothecaries with astonishing potential would have the qualifications to be recommended for the position of sacred elder. Once such qualifications were obtained, they would have an additional protective status in the transcendence world. If others want to touch them, they would have to consider the ability behind them. Apart from that, he could also enjoy the various benefits of the Apothecary Alliance. For example, purchasing medicinal herbs and pills would be a piece of cake. Furthermore, he could also enjoy great discounts. This was an advantage that no other organization could compare to. Who knew how many people would break their heads to obtain such a position? Yet Yang Wu had actually retreated and refused to be a sacred elder. This truly shocked everyone. Xing Yashang was the first to react. Hee, are you afraid that your identity will be exposed, so you're choosing to run away? Your choice is truly wise. Yang Wu ignored Xing Yashang. He didn't even bother to look at him. At this time, Chao Jifei finally looked at Yang Wu. In these 2 months, Yang Wu had caused quite a commotion. It was difficult for her not to pay attention to him. She had reason to believe that a person who could cause 10,000 pill recipes to choose their master was a sacred apothecary. If he didn't even have this level of cultivation, then how could he cause the pill recipes to choose their master? Thinking back to when she first became a sacred apothecary, she also caused quite a commotion. However, compared to Yang Wu's commotion, it was slightly smaller. Moreover, it was isolated by her master, so not many people in the outside world knew about it. The reason she wanted to test Yang Wu's strength as a sacred apothecary was because she wanted to see with her own eyes what kind of ability Yang Wu had to be able to attract the pill recipes to choose him. This was clearly a sign of success in alchemy. As long as he continued to accumulate, he would be able to reach large success in alchemy. Who would have thought that Yang Wu wouldn't take the bait? She had to take a good look at whether this guy was really stupid or just pretending to be stupid. When she first saw Yang Wu, he gave her a good impression of him. He was quite handsome, but she had seen a lot of men like him and was already immune to them. When she saw him for the second time, she felt that this guy was quite arrogant. In this kind of situation, he wasn't like those who had just become sacred elders in the past who were pretending to be strong. There weren't many who were as calm as this guy. Yang Wu, what are you trying to do? If they want to see you refine pills, then refine them. If they want to test your bone age, then let them. This old man believes that you won't be afraid of this little challenge. Old man Zue looked at Yang Wu and said, he didn't want Yang Wu to be excluded from the alliance. That would be a great loss to the alliance. Another sacred elder said, since he doesn't care for the position of sacred elder, then let him scram. This was a bad-tempered alchemist who had been roped in by Xing Yishang. Another person said, people with a guilty conscience don't dare to show their abilities. Old man Zue, I think you really drank too much this time to recommend him. Bullshit. Do you think this old man is someone who doesn't know his limits? Old man Zue scolded angrily. He then looked at Yang Wu and said, Yang Wu, show them a few moves and give them a good slap in the face for me. Not interested. Yang Wu said indifferently. He paused for a moment and then said, if there's nothing else, then I'll take my leave. After saying this, he didn't want to say anything else and turned to walk out of the hall. Everyone looked at Yang Wu, who was so straightforward, and were all dumbfounded. Young people really are impulsive. After stepping out of this door, he will lose his position as a sacred elder. That's good. Xing Yishang was very satisfied in his heart. The sacred alchemist who had a good impression of Yang Wu felt that it was a pity. They had seen the pill recipe choose its owner with their own eyes. Yang Wu had condensed his pill Tao and had a bright future ahead of him. This isn't a place where you can come and go as you please, Miao Miaochi said faintly. Suddenly, Yang Wu couldn't move. A terrifying aura enveloped him, and he couldn't move at all. Old Miao, don't be impulsive. Don't be impulsive. Old man Zue hurriedly advised. Miao Miaochi ignored Old man Zue and asked Yang Wu, what will it take for you to be willing to refine pills? Everyone present was stunned. They didn't expect Miao Miaochi to use a negotiating tone with Yang Wu. This was unusual. Vice Alliance leader Miao was famous for being old-fashioned. He did everything according to the rules. No matter who it was, they didn't matter in front of him. Today, he was so polite to Yang Wu. It seemed that only Chao Jifei had such treatment. It's not impossible for me to refine pills, but I have two conditions, Yang Wu said as he turned around. What conditions? Miao Miaochi asked in surprise. Other than Chao Jifei, it seemed that many young people didn't dare to speak to him like this. It was quite interesting. First, whoever questions my identity, if the result of my verification is out, and there is no fraud, other than apologizing, you will also have to compensate. My request is not high, just 100 stalks of saint herbs or 10,000 low-grade saint stones will do. Second, this person who has repeatedly provoked me will compete with me. If he loses, he will give up the position of holy elder. If I lose, I am willing to cut off one of my arms and never refine pills again. Yang Wu said faintly. When he said the last sentence, he pointed at Xing Yishang. His eyes were filled with a thick chill. Everyone felt the ruthless aura release from Yang Wu's body. Their necks couldn't help but shrink as they exclaimed inwardly, what a ruthless young man. Using one's arm and the future of alchemy as a wager, not everyone dared to do so. Xing Yashang didn't expect Yang Wu to turn the tables on him. However, he was a high-level sacred elder and a high-level sacred alchemist. How could he be afraid of a junior's provocation? Are you sure you want to do this? Xing Yashang asked. Of course. The Yang and Xing families are sworn enemies. I will collect some interest from you first so you don't keep jumping around. You are too annoying, Yang Wu said with incomparable confidence. If it wasn't for the trip to the pill recipe pavilion, he wouldn't have been so confident. All right, I will fulfill your wish. Vice Alliance leader Miao, please make the decision, Xing Yashang said firmly. Would silver-green sacred alchemist be afraid of copper-green sacred alchemist? That was clearly not possible. Miao Miao-Chi nodded lightly and said, All right, if you agree to the bet, then I will be the witness. Ji Fei and the three of you who object will each add 100 saint herbs or 10,000 low-grade saint stones. Miao Miao-Chi's words didn't allow anyone to object. Chao Jifei pursed her lips, not daring to say anything. In her heart, she hoped that this young man had the qualifications to take her 100 saint herbs. The other three sacred alchemists cursed in their hearts. I hope this little bastard is just putting on an act. No one thought that a grand ceremony would turn into an alchemy bet. Everyone was curious as to where Yang Wu's confidence came from. Xing Yashang was a high-level sacred alchemist and had been at this level for hundreds of years. He already had the qualifications to become a top-level sacred alchemist. Yang Wu's actions were like throwing an egg against a rock. Aside from Chao Jifei, all of the sacred elders present were at the Star Rune realm. They could all see that Yang Wu was only at the early dragon transformation realm. No matter how amazing his alchemy talent was, it would be difficult for him to compare to Xing Yashang. They were all certain that the result of the competition had already been decided. Only old Zue was relatively calm. He had seen Yang Wu's alchemy skills and might not necessarily have no chance of winning. However, he couldn't help but worry. Kid, why are you always so impulsive? What if you lose? Even if I throw away my old face, I might not be able to stop Xing Yashang from changing his mind. Yang Wu raised his chin, his eyes shining with confidence as he said, Old Zue, believe in me. At this moment, he had thousands of pill recipes in his heart. He could become the world's best pill. Chapter 9:27. Yang Wu and Xing Yashang's bet was very crazy. The former would trade his alchemy future and an arm for the latter's position as a holy elder. This kind of bet was hard for any alchemist to accept, especially the former who had reached the Saint Alchemist realm at such a young age. If he were to lose an arm, it would be the same as giving up on his profession as an alchemist. The latter's loss was not small either. The position of Holy Elder was extremely rare in the Alchemist Alliance. If he lost this position, not only would he lose his reputation, but he would also lose many of his connections in the Alchemist Alliance. Moreover, he would not be able to enjoy the benefits of the Alchemist Alliance. This was a loss that could not be measured by a pile of spirit stones or saint stones. After this news spread out in the headquarters, everyone exclaimed in surprise. The youth who caused the phenomenon in the Alchemist Pavilion is a saint alchemist? And he wants to challenge Holy Elder Xing Yashang? Is this news confirmed? It's absolutely true. They will be competing in alchemy in 3 days. The youth is called Yang Wu, and he is already ranked 45-55 on the Saint Alchemist rankings. If he's so powerful, why is he so impulsive? With his talent, he can definitely become a top Saint Alchemist in 100 years. Isn't that right? He can become a Saint Alchemist, so his heart should be extremely tough. Why would he want to gamble with Holy Elder Xing Yashang? I don't understand. Didn't you guys see the bounty list? Yang Wu is already in the top 10,000. The Yang and Xing families are like fire and water, so let's just watch the show. The ceremony ended before it even started. Old man Zue quickly brought Yang Wu out of the hall. He was the one who brought Yang Wu here, so he did not want anything to happen to him. However, this matter still blew up. Yang Wu, what should I say to you? You still have a bright future ahead of you. Verifying your identity is nothing. With your ability, refining holy pills shouldn't be difficult. Could it be that you really faked your age? Old man Zue anxiously said to Yang Wu. Yang Wu rolled his eyes at Old man Zue and said, You're the one who's faking it. Then why don't you dare verify my identity? Why should I verify your identity? You can become a holy elder of the Alchemist Alliance. With that status, you can get whatever herbs you want. Even godly herbs won't be difficult as long as you have enough money. Moreover, you will be protected by the Alchemist Alliance. A holy alchemist has a noble status. Not just any holy alchemist can become a holy elder of our Alchemist Alliance. So what? No one here can take me seriously, right? That's because they look down on you. If they saw your talent in alchemy, they wouldn't be like this. Then it's settled. They will naturally see it in 3 days. Yang Wu went back to his room. Old man Zue did not follow. He seemed to understand Yang Wu's plan and exclaimed in his heart, "This kid is a monster." Qing Feng followed Yang Wu into the house. "Sister Feng, I'm going to go into seclusion for the next 3 days." Yang Wu said to Qing Feng, "I won't take up your time. I just want to know if you have the confidence to win." Qing Feng seriously looked at Yang Wu and asked, "Of course I have confidence. Otherwise, why would I seek death?" Yang Wu said confidently, "It's good to have confidence. What if you fail miserably? Then I'll have to trouble Sister Feng to take me away from here. I don't have the ability to do that here." Qing Feng said frankly. She paused for a moment and then added, "But I can accompany you in death." After saying this, she turned and left Yang Wu's room. Yang Wu's heart was filled with warmth. Looking at that graceful figure, he said to himself, "Don't worry. How could I bear to let Sister Feng die?" Following this, Yang Wu really did prepare to go into seclusion. In the alchemy chamber, he had obtained 10,000 scrolls of alchemy recipes to choose their owners. These alchemy recipes had helped him further his alchemy path. He increasingly understood that alchemy would be more perfect in this way. Even though he was only in the dragon transformation realm, he could rely on his understanding of alchemy recipes and the use of herbs to create perfect alchemy. When he was in Confusion City, he had only refined a first tribulation holy pill, which was why he had obtained the bronze green badge. In reality, he already had the ability to refine a second tribulation holy pill, but the chances were lower. Over the next 3 days, he had to digest the insights he had gained from the 10,000 pill formulas and fuse them with the increased power of alchemy. Concocting a second tribulation pill wouldn't be difficult, which was equivalent to being a silver-level alchemist. That would make him close the gap between him and Xing Yashang. If he could further refine the medicinal ingredients and concoct an even better pill, he might have a chance of concocting a third tribulation pill. Although the chances were slim, he still wanted to try. Thus, he closed his eyes and began to meditate. He used his battle soul to digest the pill recipes he had gained from the alchemy pavilion. While Yang Wu was in seclusion, on the other side of the castle, there was a clean and tidy pavilion. There were a few old trees planted in front of the pavilion. Under the trees, there was a round table. When the moon came out at night, it was very suitable for drinking tea and chatting. This was where Chao Jifei lived. She was indeed different from ordinary girls. Ordinary girls liked to plant flowers and decorate their own places beautifully and elegantly. However, she pursued simplicity and elegance. Under the tree, a tall and handsome man spoke to Chao Jifei. His appearance was indeed impeccable. His square face, big eyes, thick eyebrows, and high nose were perfectly matched. His hair was short and neat. He wore a Saint Alchemist robe, and the shining bronze green badge on his chest was very eye-catching. This was a green-level Saint Alchemist. He had an extraordinary position in the Alliance. "Junior sister, I heard that an interesting guy appeared today. Did he make you unhappy?" The handsome man asked Chao Jifei with concern. Chao Jifei met his gaze and replied, "Not to that extent. It's just that he's interesting." Yang Wu, a 23-year-old Saint Alchemist. He broke Junior sister's record. This kind of guy isn't as simple as he looks. It's understandable that you stopped him from becoming a Saint Elder. If he doesn't know what's good for him, Senior Brother will teach him a lesson for you?" The handsome man said. Chao Jifei said indifferently, "You don't have to worry about this. We'll know in 3 days. Moreover, there's no problem with his bone age. Vice Alliance Master Miao has already confirmed this." "Then you're willing to let Xing Yashang drive a wedge between you? This isn't your style," the handsome man said again. Chao Jifei revealed a smile that could topple cities and said, "When have you seen me so easily tricked? Let's just pray that he doesn't shoot himself in the foot this time." She then said, "I'm going back to my room to cultivate." She swayed her graceful figure as she returned to the pavilion. She only left a beautiful figure for the handsome man to remember. The handsome man stood there for a while before turning around to leave. Not long after, someone said in the dark, "Master, is there any meaning in continuing like this?" The handsome man smiled and replied, "It's quite interesting. I think it's too much of a waste of time. Master is so outstanding. You should be more direct. I believe she likes you too. You're thinking too much. She seems to be close to everyone, but in fact, no one has ever walked into her heart except for Master. Little junior sister is too arrogant. I have to slowly break through her defenses. Only then will she truly belong to me. Master, you have to be tough when you need to be. What's done can't be undone. I believe Master's master won't have any objections. If it were that simple, then it would be easy. Go and collect information on Yangwu. You have to pay attention to this guy. Marshal Uncle Zui definitely didn't bring him here for such a simple reason." In another pavilion, Xing Yashang was currently gathered with two other Saint Alchemists. These two Saint Alchemists were Iron Green level Saint Alchemists. They were good friends of Xing Yashang and were called Zhong Feng and Wang Yiling. Zhong Feng was an old Saint Alchemist. Being able to reach this step was already his limit. If he wanted to go any further, it would be extremely difficult. He was able to reach the Saint Realm all because of the accumulation of pills. Moreover, he could only refine some ordinary Saint pills and had never succeeded in refining a batch of 1 tribulation pills. He had long since become accustomed to this and no longer hoped for any room for improvement. Wang Yiling was much younger than Zhong Feng and was also a newly promoted Saint Elder. He was the result of Xing Yashang's recommendation and was also one of Xing Yashang's loyal followers. Yang Wu is just a brat who hasn't even grown his hair yet he dares to provoke Master. His brain must have been clamped by a donkey's, but Zhong Feng said coarsely. Wang Yiling said with a faint smile, "It's Master's plan that led that brat to take the bait. Competing with Master in alchemy is simply seeking death." Xing Yashang took a sip of tea and said with a smile, "That brat caused a phenomenon in the alchemy pavilion. It's not as simple as you think. He's definitely not an impulsive and brainless guy. Could it be that he can come up with a countermeasure?" Zhong Feng asked. He made a bet in front of Vice Alliance leader Miao. What countermeasure could he come up with? He overestimated his alchemy ability. He thinks that just because he condensed his alchemy, he can look down on everyone else. Did I not condense my alchemy as well? Xing Yashang said with a cold smile. That's right. That little brat has a brain, but unfortunately, he was too arrogant. Breaking his arm and cutting off his future, the Yang family no longer has any outstanding young talents. If the family were to know what my lord has done, they would definitely praise you. Wang Yiling said flatteringly. After a pause, he said, "But he has Elder Zue's protection. Elder Zue won't let anything happen to him so easily, right? Right now, we don't know where the Alliance leader is. With Vice Alliance leader Miao in charge, no one can plead for leniency. Elder Chao Shang won't be easy to pass either. Elder Zue is just taking advantage of his seniority. Then what if Elder Chao Shang has other ideas? What ideas could Elder Chao Shang have? Master is a Saint Elder. His status is higher than hers. Once this matter is over, Master can return to the Xing clan. After some time, this matter will also be resolved. Women will always be women." Chapter 928. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The Apothecary Alliance's main altar was much more lively than before. Many apothecaries from all over the transcendent realm rushed back to witness the bet between the newly promoted Saint Apothecary Yang Wu and the veteran Saint Apothecary Xing Yashang. Whether it was the newly promoted Saint Alchemist or the old Saint Alchemist who was better would be revealed today. 2 altars rose from the ground in the spacious alchemy field. They were the altars prepared for the 2 Saint Apothecaries. The surrounding open space was already filled with alchemists. The lowest level alchemist was a heavenly alchemist. This was an extremely outstanding alchemist. They were the disciples of various saint alchemists. Only they were qualified to stand here. Most of the rest were minor saint alchemists. There were more than 1,000 of them. There were also quite a number of saint alchemists. There were a total of 70 of them. Such a number of alchemists was frightening. Only the Alchemist Union had such a rallying power. This was because time was tight. If there was more time, there would be even more apothecaries. Miao Miaoqi, Chao Jifei, and the other important saint apothecaries appeared on the stage. They could see the situation on the two altars not far away. The alchemy hadn't started yet, but the apothecaries were already engaged in heated discussions. Some were even shuttling through the crowd to place their bets on who would win. Come, come. Those who bet on Saint Elder Xing Yashang's victory have odds of 3 to 1. Those who bet on Yang Wu's victory have odds of 1 to 5. The lowest bet is 1,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones. There's no upper limit. Don't miss it. A young man of average height and appearance shouted. Come, come. I'll bet 1,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones on Saint Elder Xing Yashang's victory. Great. Saint Elder Xing Yashang will definitely win. Meow meow. I'll bet 3,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones on Saint Elder Xing Yashang's victory. This time, you can't owe me anymore. Brother, when have I, meow meow, ever cheated others? Don't slander me. 1,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones is too much. I'll bet 500 high-grade Xian spirit stones. Do you accept? 500 high-grade Xian spirit stones. To think that you're a little saint apothecary. But looking at your poor appearance, I'll let you. Being able to place a bet in the Apothecary Alliance was enough to show that this young man was extraordinary. Miao Miao, also known as Miao Miao, was the descendant of Miao Miaoqi. His talent in alchemy was outstanding. He was not even 30 years old, but he already had the alchemy skills of a heavenly alchemist. He wore a silver-red badge on his chest to prove his alchemy skills. Miao Miao, Miao 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 of Miao Miao was Miao Miao Miao's. Miao 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 did not let him down. Miao Miao's alchemy ability was constantly improving. Miao Miao had always been very satisfied. The only thing he was dissatisfied with was that this fellow's temperament was too unstable. He especially liked gambling, especially in this kind of alchemy competition. Normally, he would not let go of the chance to make a fortune. Many alchemists in the Alliance had to give Miao Miao face. They would usually bet on Miao Miao's bets. Even if they did not want to gamble, they would be embarrassed to not support him. Miao Miao knew when to advance and when to retreat. He would not make things difficult for others. He would always compensate those who bet fairly. He would not owe others. Even if he lost a lot, he would think of ways to get the money back. It was because of his reputation that others were willing to play with him. Miao 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 had always felt helpless about this. He had scolded Miao Miao many times, but this brat always turned a deaf ear. Every time there was an alchemy competition, he would fan the flames. Miao Miao received many bets, all of which were on Xing Yishang. He was very depressed. Is no one optimistic about Yang Wu? Isn't this asking me to lose all the way to my grandmother's house? As the banker, he also wanted to bet on Xing Yishang. This was a gamble without any suspense. Even so, he was still willing to accept bets. This was the professionalism of a banker. Just as Miao Miao was about to lose his enthusiasm to accept bets, a beautiful woman wearing a green feather dress walked over. There's no limit to the bets. Miao Miao looked at the green-clothed woman and was stunned for a moment. Then he wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth and said, There's no limit. The more the better, the more the better. I wonder who will win if this beauty is betting? I suggest you bet on Yang Wu. They've all bet on Xing Yishang. If there's an upset, you'll earn a lot. I've decided to raise the odds on Yang Wu to 1 to 5 and also put a stop to Xing Yishang. You just have to bet 1,000 high-grade profound spirit stones, and you can win 5,000 high-grade profound spirit stones. Don't miss such a great opportunity. I'll bet 10,000 high-grade saint stones on Yang Wu winning, the green-clothed woman said indifferently. In the next moment, she handed a universe ring to Miao Miao. 10,000 high-grade saint stones were piled inside. Miao Miao was shocked. He trembled. Sis, you're not joking? You really want to bet so much? I'm not your sister and I'm not joking. Do you accept or not? Qing Feng said indifferently. Miao Miao gulped. Don't you want to reconsider? Betting is risky. Miao Miao wasn't wrong to be the banker, but he was only a heavenly alchemist. The highest bet he had ever accepted was 100,000 high-grade, profound spirit stones. This wasn't something an ordinary person could afford. Now that Qing Feng had bet 10,000 high-grade saint stones, he was truly frightened. Looks like you don't have the ability to take these saint stones, Qing Feng said disdainfully. She put away her universe ring. At this moment, another voice rang out. We'll take your bet. The person who spoke was Xing Yishang's good friend, Wang Yuling. Beside him was Zhong Feng. Qing Feng glanced at Wang Yuling and said, Are you sure? 10,000 high-grade saint stones. We two saint alchemists can still afford it. Could it be that you're just trying to scare us? Wang Yuling looked at Qing Feng with a tyrannical expression. He could tell that Qing Feng was a demonic beast and not a human. He was moved by such a beautiful demonic beast. However, he was even more moved by the 10,000 high-grade saint stones. Even a saint alchemist like him was moved by this amount. Elder Wang Sheng, what you're doing isn't right. You're stealing my business, Miao Miao said unhappily. Miao Miao, if you can take out 50,000 high-grade saint stones, we'll let you have this business, Wang Yuling said amiably. Wang Yuling didn't dare to put on airs in front of Miao Miao's descendant. All of a sudden, Miao Miao was so stifled that she couldn't say anything. He had never gambled so much before. He really didn't have any saint stones. He couldn't borrow from his ancestor. Miao Miao, wait until you become a saint alchemist. How about you let us have this opportunity? After we're done, we'll give you 100 saint stones. How about that? Zhong Feng said from the side. Miao Miao said unhappily, I can't eat it, but I won't eat it randomly. I'll let you have this opportunity. I hope you don't swallow it. Hee hee, Yang Wu will definitely lose, Zhong Feng said with a faint smile. Qing Feng played with the universe ring in her hand and said, I don't trust you. Take out the saint stones and put them on him. Whoever wins in the end will take them away. With that, she placed the saint stones in her hand into Miao Miao's hand. Miao Miao was stunned for a moment, then said with a smile, This sister has good taste. You know that I, Miao Miao, have a good character. 2 saint elders, bring out your saint stones. No matter who wins or loses, I'll take 100 high-grade saint stones as a reward. Just now, Zhong Feng had given him alms, but he didn't care about it. Now that the situation was different, he was the notary, so it was only right for him to take the commission. Wang Yuling and Zhong Feng looked at each other, and each of them also came out of their universe rings. A total of 50,000 high-grade saint stones were handed over to Miao Miao. Wow, that's a huge bet. Miao Miao couldn't help but exclaim after confirming the number of saint stones in both parties' universe rings. The alchemists on the left and right also heard the size of the bet, and were all speechless. These were high-grade saint stones, a total of 10,000 of them. Even a second or a third-rate power wouldn't have so much wealth. It's a waste not to take the 10,000 high-grade saint stones that we got for free. Wang Yuling laughed happily. Zhong Feng also laughed and said, He's rich. Spending this little bit of saint stones is nothing. Qing Feng disdained to pay attention to them. In her eyes, no matter if Yang Wu won or not, she would only follow him to the end. She thought to herself, Don't disappoint me. Ever since she met Yang Wu, she had seen Yang Wu create many miracles. She hoped that this time wouldn't be an exception. At this time, Xing Yashang and Yang Wu arrived one after another, and each of them flew to their own altar. Xing Yashang stepped into the air, and his aura was calm and experienced. He landed on the altar with ease, and his alchemist robe fluttered lightly. There was no doubt that he was a saint alchemist. Yang Wu was like a true dragon, and a dragon-shaped battle chief floated around his body. He revealed the demeanor of a young saint alchemist. At this moment, Yang Wu didn't want to hide his strength anymore. He wanted to show everyone how strong his alchemy skills were. After 3 days of seclusion, he had comprehended a lot, and he was confident that he could reach a higher level. Most of the people's eyes were focused on Yang Wu. There were many people who hadn't seen Yang Wu before, and they were all curious about how Yang Wu looked like. He actually had the guts to challenge a veteran high-level saint alchemist. So he is Yang Wu. He is really young, just like an 18-year-old youth. For him to be able to stand on this altar, my admiration for him is like an endless river. That's right, there's so many alchemists gathered here, and Vice Leader Miao is also on the altar. Not an ordinary person would have the courage to face such a battle array. I believe that he is really a saint alchemist. Saint Elder Xing Yashang is already a silver-green saint alchemist. With his alchemy skills, as long as there are no accidents, he has a 99% chance of winning. Where did Yang Wu get the confidence to fight against him? The alchemy is about to start, and we will know who is better in half a day. If there is an upset, I will write my name backwards. Chapter 929. The altar stood tall, unmoved by the wind. Who would emerge victorious in the battle for the title of Saint Alchemist? Today, Xing Yashang and Yang Wu will be competing in alchemy. The price of victory and defeat has been stated clearly, and I will be the witness. Before we begin, I will state 3 rules. First, all of you must refine 1 cauldron of star pattern pills in 6 hours. Second, no one is allowed to use true fire to attack or interfere with each other. Third, you will be responsible for the pill tribulation. Do you have any objections? No objections. Yang Wu and Xing Yashang both said in unison. Miao Yashang's announcement of these 3 rules seemed to be for the sake of fairness, but in reality, he was already thinking for Yang Wu. Xing Yashang was a true star pattern realm saint. If he didn't use true fire to attack, Yang Wu would lose without a doubt. Xing Yashang also understood this point, but he didn't care. He could use his alchemy skills to win this bet fair and square. As for the pill tribulation, Xing Yashang wasn't afraid at all. He had the saint puppet to withstand the pill tribulation. On the other hand, he didn't believe that Yang Wu had the ability to withstand a saint pill tribulation. No matter how talented a low-level dragon transformation realm martial artist was, how could he withstand a saint pill tribulation? In Xing Yashang's opinion, Miao Yashang was very fair. The other alchemists also didn't have any objections. They were all quietly waiting for the competition to begin. Miao Yashang didn't waste any more time and announced the start of the competition. Xing Yashang looked at Yang Wu and transmitted his voice. What a pity. The Yang clan will lose a saint alchemist with a bright future. Yang Wu didn't look at Xing Yashang. He began to look at the herbs on the altar. These herbs were prepared by the Alchemist Alliance. There were a total of 3 sets, which meant that he had to use 3 sets of ingredients to refine 1 cauldron of star pattern pills. 3 sets of ingredients to refine 1 cauldron of pills was a necessary skill for an alchemist with a high success rate. If he used all 3 sets of ingredients and still couldn't refine the pills, it meant that the result of the competition was out. Xing Yashang taunted, Yang Wu, don't pretend to be calm. Now that you're here, it's too late for regrets. If you're willing to submit to the Xing clan and become our dog, I'll let you live. Old dog, don't be noisy. Yang, Xing Yashang scolded, little bastard, since you're courting death, don't blame me. Xing Yashang didn't delay and began to refine the pills. Xing Yashang lived up to his reputation as a veteran saint alchemist. He took out a sacred cauldron. This pitch-black cauldron looked ordinary, but it emitted an aura of vicissitudes. Vaguely, one could hear the cries of birds. There were 3 bird heads on the side of the cauldron. They seemed to be the heads of golden crows. They were the black golden crows, which possessed the bloodline of golden crows. They were an extremely rare ancient spirit demon clan. This cauldron was called the Black Golden Crow Cauldron. It was ranked 177th on the Saint Weapon ranking. The Xing clan had spent a lot of effort to obtain this cauldron. The Black Golden Crow Cauldron could increase one's success rate by 30% and increase one's ability to refine pills by 20%. This was why it could enter the Saint Weapon ranking. There weren't more than 10 cauldrons that could enter the Saint Weapon ranking. Xing Yashang could be proud to have one. This was also the reason why he was so confident. The Saint alchemists below all looked envious. In their opinion, as long as they could obtain such a sacred cauldron, they would be able to refine pills of a higher grade. However, they didn't have such an opportunity. Unless they could get the number 1 Saint Weapon Master to make a move, they wouldn't have a chance to obtain such a top-grade cauldron. Today, I'll show you what alchemy is, Xing Yashang muttered to himself. Murmured Xing Yashang. The power of his saint spirit pulsed, and the herbs rose on their own. Holy fire appeared in his hand. It was the Xing clan's unique fire. It had devoured many types of fire seeds, and it had condensed into a holy fire. It was the reason why he had become a saint alchemist. Xinghua had the ability to devour. When it appeared, the surrounding worldly Xian Qi was devoured by it. The resulting firepower was very oppressive. The alchemists below all retracted their flames, feeling a sense of fear. They were afraid of being devoured by Xing Yashang's sacred flame. The herbs began to fly into the black gold crow cauldron. The Xing fire burned the cauldron's walls. The essence of the herbs was instantly burned and dripped into the cauldron. Using the mind to refine pills, everything was so natural. It showed the demeanor of a saint alchemist. In the next moment, more than 10 stalks of herbs flew up at the same time. They seemed to be controlled by an invisible hand and fell into the cauldron. The Xing fire's power began to disperse, roasting the herbs separately. Another dozen stalks of herbs were refined. The speed was so fast that the alchemists below were amazed. The difference between a saint alchemist and other alchemists was that they were very skilled at using the mind to refine pills. They could speed up the refinement of pills. Yang Wu didn't even look at how Xing Yashang was refining pills. Xing Yashang's Xing fire domain couldn't affect him in the slightest. He had even broken through the Xing clan's fire domain. Why would he be afraid of Xing Yashang's Xing fire domain? Yang Wu didn't immediately start refining pills. He was still distinguishing the herbs. The 3 sets of herbs seemed very complete, but to him, there were still some loopholes. There was an extra stock of herb that shouldn't have been there, and there were 2 less stocks of essential supplementary herbs. The Alchemist Alliance definitely didn't do this on purpose. It was because they had the Star Rune Pills pill formula. With this formula, they could also refine Star Rune Pills. It was just that the quality of the Star Rune Pills would be lowered and the number of condensed pills would be reduced. Not long ago, Yang Wu had discussed alchemy with Elder Zue and Dan Rilchin. He already had his own understanding of various pill formulas. Moreover, he had obtained 10,000 pill formulas from the Alchemist Pavilion. After comparing them with the formula Little Hay gave him, he had a better understanding of the relationship between herbs. If the formula was right, even an ordinary stock of herb could increase the success rate of refining pills. If the formula wasn't right, no matter how many saint herbs he had, it would be difficult to refine pills of exceptional quality. Yang Wu had been in seclusion for 3 days to digest his understanding of the pill formulas. He had a better understanding of the principles behind them. Therefore, before he started refining pills, the first thing he had to do was to distinguish the herbs. Then, he had to figure out the order of refinement of the herbs. He had to achieve a perfect concoction process. Only then would he be able to win this round. Yang Wu put away the extra herbs and added the missing supplementary herbs. This process was only noticed by a few people. They didn't understand what Yang Wu was doing. Fortunately, Yang Wu wasn't cheating. Otherwise, they would have exposed him on the spot. Someone wanted to ask, but was stopped by Miao Miaochi. Vice Alliance Lord, what is he trying to do? The Saint Alchemist asked Miao Miaochi. Perhaps he feels that our formula isn't suitable, so he added some of his own ingredients. This isn't against the rules, Miao Miaochi replied. How is that possible? Our formula definitely won't have any problems. We definitely won't tamper with it, the Saint Alchemist emphasized. Yes, I know you didn't tamper with it, but that doesn't mean you didn't tamper with the formula, Miao Miaochi replied softly. The Saint Alchemist was stunned. Xing Yashang had refined quite a few herbs, but Yang Wu hadn't started yet. The people below began to whisper in each other's ears in confusion. What is Yang Wu doing? Is he planning to let the Saint Alchemist elder condense pills first before refining? Doesn't he know how to refine pills? What is he doing up there? Young people really aren't reliable. Dilly-dallying like this. Does he really think he can catch up? Maybe he has acrophobia. Haha. Miao Miao whispered to Qing Feng. Elder sister, Yang Wu isn't doing good. Qing Feng ignored Miao Miao. Yang Wu definitely had his reasons for not starting yet. She wasn't worried at all. On the other hand, Meow Meow's skin was extraordinarily thick. If he dared to stick close to her, she would definitely send him flying. Elder sister, this is 10,000 high-grade saint stones. Don't tell me you don't care at all? Meow Meow whispered again. If you say another word, I'll pull your tongue out. Ching Feng replied coldly. Meow Meow quickly covered his mouth with a terrified expression. Not far away, Wang Yuling and Zhong Feng sneered. In their eyes, these 10,000 high-grade saint stones were given away for free. Chao Jifei also noticed Yang Wu's situation. She frowned slightly, and her beautiful eyes rippled with thoughts. After a while, her brows relaxed, as if she understood Yang Wu's intentions. She thought to herself, I wonder if he's trying to be smart, or if he's really trying to find a new path. Yang Wu finally started to move. The bronze cauldron quietly appeared in front of the crowd. Not many people could see how amazing this old cauldron was. Only the vice leader, Miao Miao Chi, had a look of surprise on his face. He murmured in his heart, a divine cauldron? Yang Wu still didn't start refining. Instead, he took out a white cloth and gently wiped the cauldron. He cleaned up the remaining medicinal dregs in the cauldron bit by bit, leaving no traces behind. In the past, Yang Wu wouldn't do this at all. However, from today onwards, he had to wipe the cauldron clean before refining a cauldron of pills. This was his respect for the cauldron, and also his responsibility for refining new pills. The remaining medicinal dregs in the cauldron would affect the formation of new pills, and could even cause the refinement to fail. This was his newest realization. Only with a sincere heart could one comprehend the Tao of alchemy and create perfect pills. When the old alchemists saw Yang Wu's actions, they felt a trace of respect for Yang Wu. An alchemist who cared for his cauldron was a qualified alchemist. After wiping the cauldron inside and out, Yang Wu used water power to clean it. He then used fire power to dry the cauldron. Everything was done meticulously. Finally, he put his palms together and murmured, Lord Cauldron's spirit, from today onwards, I will take good care of you. I will use my heart to refine every cauldron of pills. I will not let you go to waste. After saying that, he finally began to refine the medicinal herbs.